This is Norm MacDonald vs. O.J. Simpson, a full recap.
Well, it is finally official. Murder is legal in the state of California.
I no longer take that position with O.J. Simpson. He was found not guilty. I see him as the greatest rusher in the that's all he's guilty of to me, is the greatest rusher in the history of the NFL.
With the recent death of football player and acquitted murderer O.J. Simpson, the world of comedy has erupted with conversations about O.J. Simpson and made plenty of jokes at his expense. Unfortunately for the world, one of the all-time kings of O.J. Simpson jokes, Norm MacDonald, was unable to log into Twitter and make jokes because he's currently in the middle of a dirt nap. O.J. Simpson and Norm MacDonald have quite the history, and it makes sense because they both have a lot in common when you think about it. They're both savages at their crafts, they're both black, and they were both murdered by some douchebag named Cancer. I don't know this Cancer guy, but I'd like to punch him right in the goddamn face. No, but seriously, these two legendary men were brought together by comedy, and today I will be paying homage to these two killers and covering some of the iconic and timeless moments featuring them that bless the world of comedy. If that sounds interesting to you, then let's hop right into it. Picture this. It's 1994, and you're casually reading the news, and you see in the news that Nicole Simpson and Ronald Goldman were found stabbed to death. And you then find out that O.J. Simpson, one of the greatest running backs in the history of the NFL, is suspect number one. At the same time this is happening, Saturday Night Live is very popular and buzzing about the trial immediately after O.J. Simpson was taken into custody and formally charged with murder. A lot of the comedy on the show was relatively neutral and not too on the nose, despite the fact that a lot of them probably thought O.J. was guilty behind closed doors. However, there was one man at Saturday Night Live that was different from all the rest. One fearless host of the Weekend Update news routine that was not afraid to say what he really felt about O.J. Simpson. That man was Ellen DeGeneres. Just kidding. That man was actually Norman Jean MacDonald. If you're a subscriber of this channel, then Norm MacDonald needs absolutely no introduction for you. But if you're not a subscriber of this channel, you can change that really quick if you're finding value in the content you're watching. Anyway, Norm MacDonald is often described by fellow comedians and fans of comedy alike as one of the most ballsy, fearless, and dangerous Weekend Update hosts to ever sit behind the desk.
Andy, you said something once. It was after a Norm segment, and Norm had annihilated. He had done really well, as he always did. You said to me, that guy doesn't care in a way that frightens me.
During the trial, Norm was absolutely vicious with the O.J. Simpson jokes. It seemed like Norm would have several new O.J. jokes every single episode of Saturday Night Live. Some of these jokes are considered to be some of the best jokes to ever be told on Weekend Update.
In a brilliant move during closing arguments, Simpson attorney Johnny Cochran put on the knit cap prosecutors say O.J. wore the night he committed the murders. Although O.J. may have hurt his case when he suddenly blurted out, "Hey, easy with that. That's my lucky stabbing hat." And in court this week, Cato Kalin testified that O.J. Simpson did not appear angry before or after the period of his wife's murder. But Kalin admitted he could have been a touch edgy while he was actually murdering her.
Nobody had really gone at O.J. Simpson like this before, and given his status as one of the most famous and successful football players at the time, this made the case extremely divisive amongst Americans. Norm would lean right into this divisiveness and go right for the throat time and time again, and it would lead to him getting some pushback while working at Saturday Night Live from management. Norm would write most of these jokes with one of the head writers at the time who was named Jim Downey, and Jim has talked about how they went through the process of writing these jokes before. Many months later, in September 1994, the murder trial would begin for O.J. Simpson, and with this commenced Norm and Jim Downey launching an absolute assault on O.J. Simpson and anyone who thought he was innocent. Obviously, with this came many more jokes, and with many more jokes came hot water for Norm MacDonald behind the scenes at Saturday Night Live. Norm would be confronted by Don Ohlmeyer about the O.J. Simpson jokes, and Don was one of the executive producers at NBC who was very high up on the corporate ladder in the entertainment world. The reason for Don's frustration with Norm was that he happened to be very good friends with O.J. Simpson, which is an odd choice when you think about it. I've never been friends with a murderer before, but something tells me that those guys are real jerks. Don would tell Norm and Jim to tone down with the O.J. jokes a little bit, which was an absolutely ridiculous request when you consider the fact that Weekend Update on Saturday Night Live was a heavily topical news segment which was made to poke fun at current events. So what the hell were they supposed to do? Just ignore one of the biggest criminal trials of all time to make the producer more comfortable? To hell with that. Eventually, after many more hilarious jokes by Norm and Jim, the O.J. Simpson case would conclude with the Juice being found not guilty of murdering those two people that he absolutely murdered. Then Don would approach Norm and Jim again and say to them now that the trial was over and that they should just move on and stop doing O.J. jokes because at this point it's old news. As you could all probably predict, that's not the cloth from which Norm is cut. After being told this, he would then go on to open Weekend Update with this joke immediately after the trial's conclusion.
Thanks, I'm Norm MacDonald, and now the fake news. Well, it is finally official. Murder is legal in the state of California.
After this happened, Don Ohlmeyer made a move to have Jim Downey removed from the show as a head writer, and Don brought this to Norm's attention. When he asked Norm if he was fine with them doing this, Norm said that he would not do the show without Jim Downey, and that if they fired Jim from the show, that they would have to fire him as well. An incredibly loyal move from Norm. They really didn't want to let Norm go, but it was necessary if Jim was going to be fired, so both of them ate the bullet. And then it was perpetuated that the reason Norm was fired was because he wasn't funny, and we all know how that turned out, because Norm would then return to host a few years later. Anyway, even after his firing from SNL, Norm Macdonald would not lay off the OJ jokes. He would then host the ESPYs just 1 year after his firing, and this would once again demonstrate how vicious Norm was when he went after someone. With the ESPYs, we got this golden moment at the end of the show.
And there's Charles Woodson. How about that? What a season he had. Great, man. He became the first defensive player to win the Heisman Trophy. And congratulations, Charles. That is something that no one can ever take away from you. Unless you kill your wife and a waiter, in which case, all bets are off.
Despite no response from O.J. Simpson publicly about Norm's many jokes towards him and his guilt, O.J. would wisely stay silent and just never address these jokes. You might think that this would conclude the saga of Norm Macdonald and O.J. Simpson, but similar to the jurors who thought O.J. was innocent, you would be wrong. In June 2007, O.J. Simpson would release his book titled If I Did It, Confessions of a Killer, which is a tongue-in-cheek way of O.J. discussing how he would have went about his life if he did murder his wife and a waiter. But lucky for us, the book is listed in the fiction section at libraries, and O.J. is clearly not guilty of anything. Then later in September 2007, O.J. would find himself in legal trouble once again. This time it was for stealing his own memorabilia that he claimed was stolen from him. He was found guilty and sentenced to 33 years in prison with the chance for parole after 9 years. When this news was released, it would lead to Norm writing a new chunk of material about O.J. Simpson that we would then hear on his 2011 stand-up comedy special titled Me Doing Stand-Up, in one of the funniest bits about the O.J. Simpson trial to ever be recorded. In this bit, Norm claims he's changed his opinion on O.J. Simpson given his acquittal, and then states how he finds his new sentencing highly unfair. Listen to this.
Well, I've changed my mind on O.J. Yeah, I'll tell you what I feel about O.J. As much as I was indignant about his acquittal, I'm equally indignant about his going to prison for stealing his fucking own shirts. I don't think that's fair. I don't think if you steal your own shirts, you should get 35 consecutive life sentences.
So Norm once again finds the funniest way possible to joke about O.J., but this time in a much more sly and indirect way. Absolutely phenomenal. In the meantime, Norm would make many tweets about O.J. Simpson. Some of the jabs that were directed at O.J., he probably himself could have found humor in. For example, this tweet of Norm saying he knows where O.J. is golfing because of the house behind him, or this tweet where he says he's in Vegas with O.J. and they're both golfing and how fun it could be, or this now deleted tweet where O.J. says his mother is the only person to call him Orenthal, and Norm replies, and lived to talk about it. Great use of Twitter from Normie. And then many years later, Norm would be on Lights Out with David Spade on December 2nd, 2019, where he would speak about O.J. Simpson for the final time. I'll show you that here.
Now in this cancel culture and everything, I have to say, I no longer take that position with O.J. Simpson. He was found not guilty. See him as the greatest rusher in the that's all he's guilty of to me, is the greatest rusher in the history of the NFL. Yep. Maybe I was the greatest rusher to judgment.
All that for that?
Then just 2 years after this, Norm Macdonald would die of cancer in September 2021. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe that O.J. Simpson changed his name to Cancer before killing Norm. It truly was a tragedy to find out that O.J. outlived Norm MacDonald, and it's even sadder to know that O.J. had one less person on Earth that he could kill. Then just recently, as I typed this, it was released that O.J. Simpson had lost his life to cancer, which is really sad to think about because O.J. Simpson won so many football games in his life, but the last thing he ever did was lose. What a loser that guy was! Upon the announcement of O.J. Simpson's death, there's a plethora of people who are going back and watching Norm MacDonald on Saturday Night Live roasting O.J. Simpson, and it's bringing a whole new appreciation for Norm that hasn't always been there. It's nice to see Norm getting some of the recognition he finally deserves for killing his wife in a wait a second. What I meant to say was killing it on the Weekend Update. Anyway, I hope you guys learned something from this video, and if you like it, you can subscribe to the channel and like the video. Also, there's some bonus content on my Patreon if you want to check that out in the description below. But all in all, this was Norm MacDonald vs. O.J. Simpson, a full recap.
This is the greatest roast in comedy history.
John likes the ladies, it's true. He has a one-track mind, and the traffic on it is pretty light. Cloris, if people say you're over the hill, don't believe them. Why, you'll never be over the hill, not in the car you drive.
With the roast of Tom Brady being hot in the news right now, a lot of people are calling this the best comedy roast in a long time. Some other people are calling it the greatest roast of all time, but I don't believe that to be the case because that would mean you'd have to put it above the roast of Bob Saget and the legendary events that unfolded that night. That night, Norm MacDonald took the stage and truly shocked the audience and made for one of the most memorable moments in the world of comedy, and in my opinion, the greatest roast in comedy history. It's not just me who says this either. There are so many comedians that would proceed to talk about what Norm did and just how truly legendary and brilliant it was for many years after the fact. If you're wondering how it was that Norm MacDonald shocked the world with his performance at the roast of Bob Saget, why he took the route that he took with it, and how comedians responded after the fact, then you've come to the right place. I will be breaking down exactly what happened in this video, so let's hop right into it and get down to the nitty-gritty details. To begin with, Comedy Central roasts have been very popular ever since they started back in 2003. The roast format in comedy is a very interesting one because it is an outlet of comedy that requires comedians to write new jokes about people that will only be used that one time, and often the goal is to be as mean as possible while still being funny. This trend has been happening for an extremely long time amongst celebrities. It is evident by the fact that if you look on YouTube, you can find several legendary roasts such as the Dean Martin roasts in 1974, the roast of Richard Pryor in 1977, and the roast of Patrice O'Neal in 2003, and so many more. There is so much gold in the Dean Martin roasts in 1974 that they will definitely get their own video at some point. This may not have been the first time that a celebrity was ever roasted on TV, but it certainly popularized this outlet of entertainment. Early on, people realized that comedians, given their craft being so writing heavy, would often deliver some of the most clever and silver-tongued roasts that had ever been said. This eventually led to Comedy Central starting their own installment of comedy roasts in 2003 with the first episode featuring comedian and asshole Dennis Leary. However, there was a stark difference between old school comedy roasts featuring people like Don Rickles and the new school roasts featuring people like Anthony Jeselnik and Jeff Ross. Nothing against those two comedians, but it would seem today that shock value is the most important thing when it comes to roasts. If you're used to that type of humor, you would know that after several times of being shocked, it gets increasingly more difficult to find yourself getting shocked again, so this type of humor can get old pretty quickly, which is why I myself don't watch a lot of Comedy Central roasts. However, of the Comedy Central roasts I have watched, one of them was the roast of Bob Saget that was set to take place in 2008 and aired on August 16th. The esteemed roast master was actor John Stamos, and the roast would feature a lot of regulars on the Comedy Central roast lineup with a couple new faces. The list of roasters included Susie Essman, Greg Giraldo, Jim Norton, Jeff Garlin, Gilbert Gottfried, John Lovitz, Cloris Leachman, Jeff Ross, and several more. But there were two additional names on the roast roster that would catch everybody off guard: Norm MacDonald and Artie Lang. This was something that a lot of die-hard comedy fans were absolutely stoked for, a dynamic duo of chaos on the roast of Bob Saget. Before 2008, one of Artie Lang's most viral moments was on the Joe Buck live show, where he absolutely roasted Joe to a crisp and basically got the show taken off the air on the first episode. And And Norm had always been well known for roasting people when he felt necessary, as he often did when he hosted awards shows or even behind the desk at Weekend Update. One of the most memorable Norm Macdonald moments in history is when he hosted the ESPYs and dealt some absolutely hilarious roasts to some of the players in the audience.
It's hard to believe, huh, that the ESPYs are 6 years old. Although Anthony Mason swears they're 18. He became the first defensive player to win the Heisman Trophy. And congratulations, Charles. That is something that no one can ever take away from you. Unless you kill your wife and a waiter, in which case...
Norm was a silver-tongued devil when he wanted to be, and one thing that most Norm fans know about him so well is the fact that Norm really enjoys doing the opposite of what he's told. The governor of Iowa knows that, and Don Ohlmeyer certainly knows that. Norm Macdonald seemed like the perfect person to do a roast of any celebrity, but there was a problem with this Comedy Central roast. Bob Saget was one of Norm Macdonald's good friends and one of his favorite people on the entire planet. He also vocally expressed how he really doesn't care for organized comedy roasts like these ones.
Well, the real reason was because it was a roast for Bob Saget,
right?
Who's a friend of mine.
Yeah,
I guess I don't like roasts.
Not to mention, he really didn't know what to say about him to make fun of him. Bob actually talked on a podcast about how Norm came to him and said he didn't know what to roast Bob about. I'll play that here real quickly.
No, he was reading from a joke book.
He said, Saget, I'm going to do jokes from the 40s. And I went, I don't know. I said, say once. I don't want to do that. I don't want to make fun of you. You're my friend.
So out of confusion, he would then ask the producers of Comedy Central what he should roast Bob about, or what he should say, and all of them told him the same thing, to be as shocking as possible, and that there were no lines he couldn't cross. So Norm would then realize the most subversive and shocking thing he could possibly do when roasting Bob Saget, and he would then make a plan for himself before the roast happened. Real quick, I like to read your guys' comments every now and then. Quick shout out to I Am The Cheese 5377 who gave me a super thanks recently, and a quick shout out to all my Patreon supporters over here. Then a couple days before the roast took place, it was announced that Artie Lang would not be attending the event because he had entered a rehab center for his drug addiction, or so the Germans would have us believe. The roast would then take place, and while it happened, Norm Macdonald would treat it with the utmost indifference while patiently waiting his turn to go up and roast. There were several moments where people roasted Norm, and he either played dumb or didn't care. I'll show you a little bit of what he did.
Norm Macdonald is here, one of the funniest people ever. Norm's got a giant gambling problem. He's dropped more coin in a casino than Michael J. Fox at a parking meter. It's a fucking roast. Groany, groan, groan.
Norm Macdonald is here. He does an amazing Burt Reynolds impression. And by that, I mean he's not in movies anymore either.
Then when Gilbert Gottfried went up, we got to see Norm put down the newspaper and actually give him his undivided attention, and you would also get to see Gilbert actually make Norm laugh for the first time all night.
Jim Norton is a pervert. He's a necrophiliac. Last night he fucked Norm Macdonald in his career.
You could tell that Norm had a lot of respect for Gilbert Gottfried because of the way he listened to his entire set and appreciated it thoroughly. Norm was also listening during Cloris Leachman's set and not reading the newspaper. This entire time, people are sitting there enjoying the roast and all the mean jokes being said, but one thing keeps crossing the mind of all of the comedians and audience members watching. What the hell is Norm Macdonald gonna say? The guy who wouldn't stop making fun of O.J. Simpson and who seems to love putting people on the spot whenever he feels like it. Then Norm gets called up to go on stage and he proceeds to tell the corniest and most inoffensive jokes you've ever heard in your entire life. Here's a few of them now.
Well, John has a reputation for being a bit of a swinger. Did you know instead of an umbilical cord, John was born with a bungee cord? Greg Coraldo, I'm just joking him. He has the grace of a swan, the wisdom of an owl, and the eye of an eagle. Ladies and gentlemen, this man is for the birds. I love Gilbert. And what I like about Gilbert Godfrey most of all is his neck. Doesn't he have a great neck, folks? Gilbert, your neck reminds me of a typewriter. Underwood. Now, but Bob has a beautiful face like a flower. Yeah, cauliflower. No offense, but your face looks like a cauliflower. As you can see, he has wavy hair. It's waving goodbye on account he's going bald.
Norm was told to be shocking, so he did exactly that. At a roast where everyone was reading harsh punchlines trying to be as mean as they could be, Norm decided to take jokes from an old-school joke book that his father Percy had given him when he was just a young boy learning about comedy. Each and every joke Norm read was silly and innocuous, and the crowd was barely responding. We don't know for sure how amplified the laugh track was by Comedy Central, but what I can tell you is that even if it is improved for TV, it's still super quiet. It's so damn funny to hear nobody laughing. And then when the camera cuts to the roasters on stage, the actors are totally confused and the comedians are laughing their asses off. Gilbert in particular couldn't stop cracking up, and neither could Greg Giraldo and Bob Saget. Then Norm proceeds to do the complete opposite of roasting Bob Saget by proceeding to talk about how much of an amazing comedian and friend he is. It ends up being the most wholesome moment of the entire night.
In all seriousness, Bob was the first comedian that I ever saw perform live, and I loved him. But one thing that bonds us as comedians is we're bitter and jealous, and Bob, honestly, has never had an unkind word for anybody, and I love him, and I hope everybody else does, so I just want to say that.
And it's even more touching in retrospect when you consider the fact that Norm Macdonald and Bob Saget are both now taking a dirt nap. Hopefully they're not napping right next to each other, because that would be gayer than Richard Simmons. After Norm walked off stage, the audience members were left wondering what the heck just happened. Everyone else went up with mean jokes, and Norm went up and made a mockery of the roast itself by refusing to have any edge. Afterwards, Jim Norton went up on stage and roasted Norm Macdonald's set and basically called it boring. But then Norm responded to that in a way that is absolutely perfect. I'll show you that here.
Norm Macdonald, God bless you. Watching your set was like watching Henry Fonda pick blueberries.
Why, I don't think there's a person in here that would not love to watch Henry Fonda pick blueberries.
Just an all-around amazing response that even had Jim Norton cracking up. Also during Jeff Ross's set, he made fun of Norm, and Norm gave him a slight jab while he was reading the newspaper. Watch this.
Norm Macdonald's so stoned he thinks he's at a roast for Bob Seger. I love you, Norm. Wow, you never come out, Norm. You're like the J.D. Salinger of jokes. What's the over-under tonight? What's going to happen, Norm?
No, I wanted to read something funny, so I'm reading Marmaduke.
A classic line from our favorite chunk of coal. There was one person that didn't roast Norm Macdonald, though. You guessed it. Frank Stallone. Anyway, after the roast ended, many comedians would talk about it and just how funny it was that Norm did this. Colin Quinn talked about the roast and had nothing but good things to say about Norm. I'll show you that here.
Bro, when there's some roast and Norm goes up and he just bombs on purpose.
Yeah.
And he goes, Gilbert Gottfried, if you see it during this as a gentleman, go ahead and enter. I get fairly...
He goes, Cloris Leachman. I say she's over the hill, not in the car I saw her driving.
He said it in the roast?
Yeah.
That is a good one.
The whole crowd's like this. It's so funny.
No, he's bombing and he never cracked. He never cracked.
No, but you got to have balls to do that, right?
Oh.
To bomb on
Just
TV
commit to it.
in front of everybody.
It's committed.
Like he said, he didn't fucking wink.
Yeah, but where do you think you get that from? Being Canadian?
Norm, he's just like that. No, Canadians aren't like that.
To bomb on TV?
Yeah.
I don't know who Colin Quinn was with in this interview, but I don't fully agree with this guy because he says that Norm Macdonald bombed on purpose at the roast of Bob Saget. I think Norm was essentially roasting the roast itself, the concept of roasts, the people doing it, himself, and the audience as well. Just because the audience wasn't receptive to it doesn't necessarily mean he was bombing on purpose. I think they just didn't get it, which is totally fine. Jim Norton would also comment on his roast on the Opie and Anthony radio show and talk about how Norm Macdonald was a very strange and weird dude, and his roast was incredibly odd.
Norm Macdonald's a weird dude.
No kidding. Yeah, he really is.
He was hilarious. Like, he did this like weird thing where he went up and he was just being like he wouldn't curse. He said it was saying like, oh, what the H, and he was being like these innocent, sweet jokes like, Bob, if you walk up to a bathroom and the door says gentlemen, You should ignore that and proceed in anyway. Like that type of stuff.
It's funny to think Jim didn't get it, and he took the angle of Norm being weird for it. And it doesn't shock me either, because he's green with envy and he has a yellow stripe down his back. Norm would then go on to the WTF podcast with Mark Maron and reflect on the roast of Bob Saget. He would talk about how he wasn't even sure about the roast at times and how he felt about it, but that there were a lot of people who thought he was mentally ill for doing this and not getting big laughs. While he may not have gotten the people in the audience to laugh, the real audience back at home got to really enjoy what it was Norm was doing. To take the roast where everyone has a PP measuring contest about who can write the most antagonistic punchline and shocking joke, and instead do corny and innocuous jokes is perfect and absolutely hilarious. For this and so many other reasons, the roast of Bob Saget to me by Norm was my favorite roast of all time. Patrice O'Neal's roast of Charlie Sheen was a close second to this one, but we will save that lovely roast for another video. Anyways, what did you guys think of the roast? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Do you wonder what Artie Lang would have said if he was on the roast with Norm? Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. If you liked the video, make sure to give me a thumbs up, and if you're new, you can subscribe to the channel. I also have some bonus behind-the-scenes content on my Patreon. But all in all, this was the greatest roast in comedy history.
That's a funny roast, huh? Yeah, you gotta laugh just to escape.
The late, great Norm MacDonald was a comedian that received universal praise from just about everyone in the world of entertainment, which is why a lot of people were surprised when he had his scheduled appearance on The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon canceled back in September 2018. Probably the worst tragedy to ever take place in the month of September. With the knowledge that just a few years later Norm would be taking a dirt nap, this stings extra, knowing that we were robbed of another classic late-night television appearance from Norm MacDonald. I know some of you guys probably think Jimmy Fallon is a coked-up mongoloid who doesn't own a doghouse, but I still think he's an okay host of The Tonight Show. When you consider the fact he preceded Johnny Carson, Jay Leno, and Conan O'Brien, you realize very quickly how hard it would be to be better than any of those three. Anyway, that's enough about Jimmy. Let's get back to our favorite chunk of coal, Norm MacDonald. To line up exactly what happened in this story properly, we need to first establish a timeline of everything leading up to Norm's canceled appearance on The Tonight Show. A lot of this is information that does not involve Norm, but please trust me when I say that we are going somewhere with it. To begin with, back in the late 2010s, the Me Too movement was arguably at its peak. Around this time, we had seen several celebrities be outed in the Me Too movement and received pretty harsh consequences for their actions. The severity of what a lot of them were accused of varies greatly depending on the person, but the point was a lot of people were coming forward with stories about celebrities. For example, on October 29th, 2017, actor Anthony Rapp accused fellow actor Kevin Spacey of making a sexual advance towards him at a party while under the influence of alcohol when Kevin Spacey was 27 years old and Anthony was just 15. Following this, several other people came forward levying similar allegations of sexual impropriety towards Kevin Spacey, and to this day, Kevin Spacey denies the allegations of abuse after being found innocent by a civil court jury in 2023. Additionally, on November 9th, 2017, it was revealed that Louis C.K. had been accused of sexual misconduct from 5 different women who claimed he had asked if he could tug his Long John Silver in front of them while they watched, to which Louis confirmed these rumors were true. Also, on November 3rd, 2017, the New York City Police Department were preparing a warrant to arrest Harvey Weinstein based on allegations of rape that had been levied towards him. Harvey would later on be charged with 11 more counts of all this disgusting shit. Obviously, what someone like Louis did shouldn't be compared to an actual fucking monster like Harvey Weinstein, but I say all of this to establish the Me Too movement was alive and well in 2017. Then a year later, in May 2018, Roseanne would make some highly unsavory tweets, one including a racist tweet about Planet of the Apes and the Muslim Brotherhood in reference to President Obama's former senior advisor Valerie Jarrett. Roseanne apologized shortly after for the tweets, but it was too late and the damage had already been done. Very soon after this, the consulting producer for Roseanne's sitcom Roseanne, named Wanda Sykes, announced that she was quitting the show. After that, the ABC president publicly condemned Roseanne's tweets and also announced that the network had decided to cancel Roseanne Roseanne's show, even though the show was set to be renewed for another season. After Roseanne lost her show, Norm Macdonald was asked to comment on this by The Hollywood Reporter because Norm at the time had been working for Roseanne on her show as a writer when it was canceled. And Norm also had known Roseanne for a long time since she gave him his first job in show business as a writer for the sitcom back in the 1992 and 1993 season. Norm said, quote, "I'm happy the Me Too movement has slowed down a little bit. It used to be 100 women can't be lying, and then it became one woman can't lie, and then it became I believe all women. And then you're like, what? Like that Chris Hardwick guy I really thought got the blunt end of the stick there," end quote. Norm also said that when Roseanne called him crying about the cancellation of her show, that he was at a loss for words. So he gave her Louis C.K.'s phone number so they could both talk about it. Some people saw this as odd since Roseanne was extra critical of Louis C.K. when his Me Too allegations came out, but Norm's reasoning for this was that he had never lost everything the way either of them had, so he wanted them to connect since in his eyes, Louis and Roseanne were going through a very similar thing. Then he was asked about the victims, and Norm said, quote, "There are very few people that have gone through what they have, losing everything in a day. Of course, people will go, what about the victims? But you know what? The victims didn't have to go through that." A lot of people immediately jumped down Norm's throat and assumed he was implying that what Roseanne and Louis went through was worse than what the victims had gone through, and that he was defending the actions of the two comedians. This was not what Norm meant at all, but more on that later though. Then Norm would go on to apologize in a tweet he made saying, quote, "Roseanne and Louis have both been very good friends of mine for many years. They both made terrible mistakes, and I would never defend their actions. If my words sounded like I was minimizing the pain that their victims feel to this day, I am deeply sorry," end quote. Most of Norm's fans supported this and were understanding, but a few other people said Norm was mansplaining and lit him up for claiming the rich comedians had gone through worse hardship than the victims had experienced. Once again, this is not what Norm meant. Then Norm would go on the Howard Stern show on September 12, 2018, the day after his interview with The Hollywood Reporter, and Howard Stern would ask him about the controversial statements he made. He pretty much said that he was saying that what the victims had gone through was terrible, but obviously not comparable in any way to what Louis and Roseanne went through. And he added something else that got him into big trouble.
Very few people have been through what we have been through. This particular, a very peculiar event where you say something or you do something and your career is wiped out forever. Because I said, now the victims went through worse, but it wasn't the same as that.
Yeah, what you said was the victims have, at least they don't lose everything.
Yes.
That's where you got into trouble.
Yeah.
So
I know that. And of course, you'd have to have Down syndrome.
Not to know that.
My new word.
Down syndrome. Right, that's a good word.
You'd have to have Down syndrome.
Based on that small little look in Norm's eyes after he said this hilarious line, I think he knew exactly what he was doing here. This clip, of course, changed everything and led to a whole new point of controversy for Norm. Then later that day, Norm was scheduled to go on The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon, and when he got to the dressing room, Jimmy approached him about the Me Too comments and the Howard Stern situation and asked him to talk. Jimmy was very distraught and clearly stressed out about the situation, and Norm described it as, quote, "He was very broken up about it. He said, I don't know what to do. It's just that I have so much pressure, people are crying, my senior producers are crying," end quote. So the producers are crying over Norm's nuanced opinion on the sweeping generalizations that took place during the Me Too movement. And the Down syndrome joke? Don't you motherfuckers work on The Tonight Show? A show that's hosted by a comedian and brings in other comedians to showcase their unique talent? Don't you understand that Norm was just joking and being hyperbolic for the sake of absurdity? Like, guys, what the fuck are we doing here? Jesus. Sorry for the rant. This whole thing is just so stupid to me. Anyway, in response to this, Norm would say, quote, "I was like, good lord, bring them in and let me talk to them. I don't want to make people cry. I felt so bad for that comment." Jimmy said, "Come back whenever you want, but I think it'll hurt the show tonight," end quote. So Jimmy ultimately showed Norm the door when he faced corporate pressure, and I know a lot of you probably think Jimmy is a coward for this, and you could probably convince me of that as well, but I also sort of understand where he's coming from. Think about it this way. If you are preceding 3 of the best Tonight Show hosts in history, and you know you're not of the same comedic caliber as them, then you also know that NBC is going to give you a much shorter
shorter leash than the previous hosts. So there's a lot of pressure on him to do his job as per the books and as safely as he can. I understand why Jimmy made the call that he did and didn't try to put his neck out for Norm at the time, but if Jimmy is a real human being and not a soulless corporate multimillionaire shill, then he probably feels extremely bad about this now, knowing that he turned Norm away when he was dying of cancer. Norm even defended Jimmy's decision and said that he understands why Jimmy did what he did, and that he wouldn't want to jeopardize Jimmy's good standing with NBC for just one late-night TV appearance. Now, people are going to accuse me of being a homosexual glazer for Jimmy Fallon in the comments down below. Please do not call me that, or I will cry my eyes out. Please! Furthermore, Norm's appearance was canceled, but then 2 days later, on September 13th, 2018, Norm would go on The View of all shows. Now, I know Norm has quite the history of going on The View and getting himself in trouble in the funniest possible way.
See, I think we should get the homicide out of the White House and get like a fresh start, because we don't want any more murderers.
I think we should just go on to the next question.
Oh.
Who are the murderers? Yeah.
Oh, Clinton, he murdered a guy.
Yeah, you know, we're not allowed to, you're not allowed to put out no accusations without.
That's a little too far.
But this time when Norm went on, he was very sincere and wore his heart on his sleeve. This is where he would officially clarify his comments on the Me Too movement that made people understand his point.
But when you kind of lose me when you imply that the hardship that your friend Louis C.K. that the hardship that he went through is equal to the hardship that the victims went through.
Right.
That doesn't compute.
That's not what I was saying. When this happened, I was working for Roseanne when Roseanne's thing went down, and I called her the next day, and she was crying the whole time I was talking to her. Not many of us have gone through this, and so you should talk to each other because you've... And then the guy said, what about the victims? And I said, well, the victims haven't gone through this. I was talking about this particular event. Of course, the victims have gone through worse than that, but I'm going to get a victim to phone Roseanne?
No, but that's a good clarification.
So a lot of people initially thought The View was going to make Norm look bad, but surprisingly, it actually stopped the bleeding, and they showed Norm a lot of humanity and understanding here. There were also a couple of times Norm was obviously trolling in this interview before putting a mint in his mouth that were pretty funny. So ultimately, The View ended up being a really good PR move and made people lay off the Norm dog pile. Then obviously, in 2021, we know our beloved chunk of coal, Norm, tragically lost his life to that football-playing, murdering black guy named, what was his name? Oh, acute leukemia. After this, we would see Martin Short and Steve Martin go on The Tonight Show to talk about Norm MacDonald, and I couldn't help but notice all of the comments shitting on Jimmy for the decision to cancel Norm's appearance. I understand where a lot of these comments are coming from, because looking back at it, you could definitely say that Jimmy really didn't try to go to bat for Norm at all, and that he's a coward for that. Norm defended Jimmy because he's a class act and a genuinely kind soul, but these comments raise legitimately good points about how shitty and hypocritical this was for Jimmy to do. I have sympathy for the guy, but I also understand the points made in these comments very well. But anyway, what do you guys think? Do you think Jimmy's decision to cancel Norm's appearance was a fair one given the unique situation? Or do you think he was acting cowardly here and should have stood his ground more? Also, who do you think was the best host of The Tonight Show? Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Before I end the video, I want to bring your attention to my second YouTube channel. If you think I'm a cool guy and you want to get to know me better and see a more personal side to me, then check out my second channel, Nate Roscoe RLP, to see me talk about real stuff in a comedic way. I'd love to see some of you guys in the comments on some of those videos as well, and of course your insights and opinions in the comments are always greatly appreciated. As always, I want to thank you guys for watching the video to the end, leaving a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and subscribing if you're new to the channel. That's all I got for you guys today. I love you, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.
Who are safer drivers, men or women? Well, according to a new survey, 55% of adults feel that women are most responsible for minor fender benders, while 78% blame men for most fatal crashes. Please note that the percentages in these pie graphs do not add up to 100% because the math was done by a woman. For those of you hissing at that joke, it should be noted that that joke was written by a woman. So now you don't know what the hell to do, do you? No, I'm just kidding. We don't hire women. You heard the latest? I heard this just the other day. There's a rumor that last week
a certain, I don't want to say who it is, a certain gentleman in ABC News, he went to a party and he got really drunk and he ended up having sex with his own wife. I don't know. I don't know how these rumors get started, but you know, it's probably just a vicious rumor, really, you know.
And joining us in the Show Before the Show living room is host of Norm MacDonald Live on YouTube, the wonderful Norm MacDonald.
Yes, and Jenny, all the stars are here.
Do you want a microphone, Norm?
Yes. Is that my tree?
What a disaster.
Jenny, all the stars are here.
It's true.
Beardy Man, Claude Racine, Dax Flame, Betty Fine,
You got it.
and Raffi Fine. All the stars
You really keep up with all that
are
stuff.
here tonight. Oh, yes. Harley Morenstein is here.
All right. And we also have comedian Todd Glass. He'll be hanging out backstage with some of tonight's guests. And on the red carpet, we've got comedian Kulap Vailesak and host...
I feel like Todd will be struggling to know these people.
I'm sorry, I'm going to continue with the what the computer says, Norm, although I'd
I'm
love
sorry.
to talk to you more than this computer.
We're on
but
the
I have to do
computer.
what the computer says, even though I do love you, Norm. I think you're one
Okay.
of the best. We're also going to be talking to the
Well,
host of...
I'm no Harley Morenstein.
You're not, Norm, but you gotta just let me read this fucking
Okay.
thing.
The next time I watch a WNBA game will be the first time I watch a WNBA game.
And what's been going on? Bring us up to date. What's been on your mind?
I had a big pork chop for dinner, and I live in the moment. But my belly too big for the anyway. Two things struck me while I was eating dinner, Dave. One, you eat dinner at a restaurant different than you eat dinner at your home. Like, at your home, you would never say, man, I'm going to make myself a pork chop, cook it up till it's hot on one side, then turn it over, hot on the other side, and then cut into it a little bit, see how it's going in the middle. But while I'm waiting for my pork chop to get nice and hot and delicious so I can eat it, first, I'll eat a big loaf of bread.
So that's at home.
Yeah,
That's
at home. Get 20 or 30 pats of butter. The other thing I noticed is dessert. Now, in the old days, dessert, the waiter would come to your table and go, what do you want for dessert, a apple pie or a cherry pie?
Oh, yeah.
You go, I'll have a cherry pie.
Sure.
Or an apple pie, don't matter. No reason to divide the audience this early.
No, that's right. You don't want to do that, no.
But you would order your pie, you'd eat it, and everything would be fine on Earth.
Yeah.
Nowadays, it's all different. Guy comes, he's got a big tray.
Oh, yeah.
He had a canted angle, every confection known to man.
Sure.
Suddenly, his tone changes. It's not like the pork chop anymore. Some kind of sexual undertones going on. He's like, you like this? You're like, I don't know. What is Do you like decadent things?
Yeah.
You're like, not that much.
Oh, yeah.
Once in a while, I guess.
Yeah.
May I tempt you, please? No, I'm a fella, you're a fella. And now it's time for Weekend Update's movie reviews. This week I saw Interview with the Vampire. And here's my review. Not gay enough. No, there's an interesting dynamic that happens when a guy becomes way more successful and powerful than you are.
Right.
Which is, I don't want to phone out. I love Sandler. I talk to him a lot, but I try to limit it because he gets bugged a lot, you know? He gets
People want
bothered a
things
lot.
from him.
Yeah, people want things from him, so I don't want anything from him. But when I'm talking to him, I feel like he might think I want something from him or something like that.
Right. You're so aware of others' feelings that
Now you're killing him. What the hell are you doing?
I know he's going to slam me when he says some shit like that.
No, you just snotted all over yourself.
I can fucking see that one coming.
In other words,
you're a motherfucker.
In other words, you're so in tune.
That's not what I'm saying.
You're bragging, aren't you? Now, you're saying...
Now, Norm, if there's one thing about Norm is he's very in touch with other people's feelings.
Norm.
I've never seen a reaction like that in here.
Norm, what you're saying, you just vomited on yourself, and you blew snot out of your nose. Norm.
There goes that mic.
What I'm trying to say.
No, what I was going to say was this.
But you like, I mean, you said you sometimes you have a little too much to drink, maybe?
Well, one time I drank a super amount, and I'd only been...
A super amount,
yeah,
right?
It was when I was a young guy. I'd only drunk like 8 or 9 times in my whole life. I never had gotten really drunk, but I'd had drinks. And I went out with my buddies, and I was drinking, and they were having those crazy drinks. All of a sudden, I was really drunk. And then a guy gave me some pills. Like, he said, hey, you want some pills? And I said, yeah, all right. So I ate the pills. And you're not supposed to eat pills while you drink.
I think even if you're not drinking, it's not a good idea when someone goes, you want a bunch of pills? Yeah.
I know.
But, yeah, combining the two.
This guy was a decent guy. He was a bouncer. No. But, so I said, yeah, so these pills, they just make you like 100 times drunker. So then oh, man, I'm really drunk. And then, like, time passed, but I don't remember. Then my friends are like, hey, let's go. I'm like, why don't you guys go? Where are you going to, why go, right? Like, we're in a bar drinking, right? And, like, it doesn't seem right that you don't want to go home, and watch I Love Lucy or something. So you're like, hey, I just stay here. I'll make new friends, right? So I was, like, real drunk, and everybody was, like, cool. It was like a Western. It had a jukebox, one of those. Guy gives you a whole bottle there, and you go, ah. And then...
That's what you do when you're drinking, you a pirate, all of a sudden?
And then it was the funnest, man. There was a big, fat, bearded guy there, and I was hanging with him, real drunk. All of a sudden, right, I'm like, oh, man, I can't remember anything. I remember, like, I sort of falling into a pool table or something like that.
Right.
And then I wake up, right, and it's like I'm in a bed. I look beside, there's the fat, bearded guy beside me.
No, really?
Yeah. So I go, oh, Lord God, I had sex with the fat, bearded guy, And at the time, like, I'd never had sex before in my life.
Yeah.
And I always thought, it's probably going to be with a lady. You know what I mean? So then, I looked over, and the weird thing was, instead of us being in the same bed, he's in a separate bed, right? Like, we have 2 separate beds.
It's like twin beds.
Twin beds. So then I'm like, wait a minute, now this is weird, because... why would we be in separate beds? Is he like an old-fashioned gay guy, And then, right? But
he has the good values, yeah.
So
we're not married yet.
There's no such thing, of course, as an old-fashioned gay guy. They're the most decadent people. So I said, what? With sex, they enjoy sex like crazy,
We mustn't generalize.
No, we mustn't generalize.
No, but go ahead.
Seriously, if there was a bathhouse for straight guys, we wouldn't be able to have sex 9, 10 times a night anyway. So anyways, I'm with, they love sex, it's a good thing. But I'm beside the fat bearded guy. I go, holy Lord. Anyways, it turns out, not a gay man at all. Turns out this guy, when I blacked out, had checked me into a rehab.
No.
Yeah.
And she's in there with you?
Yeah, so I got robes and a slipper, and they wouldn't give me my clothes back. And I had to stay in there for 3 days. And they're like, you're an alcoholic. I go, no, I'm not. And then apparently that's what alcoholics say, too, So then for 3 days I had to stay there. I had to go to AA meetings. And I'd only been drunk like 9 times, So they're like, what's your worst one? I go, I guess the 9th one was bad,
Right.
That was, and when did you hit bottom? I said, I don't know. The cool part of it was the girls all get up, right? And all their stories are all the same. Whenever they hit bottom, every story is the same. They're like, oh, when I hit bottom, I a guy for a drink, and you're like, oh. Every time. Guy goes, you got the do-rag? He goes, I fucking my woman.
you know, and I don't want to answer the phone. Oh shit! It could be a job, and you know. And then you know, after you take the do-rag, you wipe off your dick with the do-rag, and I'm like, no, I don't do that. But everyone in the audience is like, yeah, we all do that. We all wipe our dicks off.
Hey, WNBA, I got an idea that'll sell some tickets. Shirts and skins. Look, Taylor, I don't think you understand. You're a huge whore. Last night, the epic disaster film Twister opened to big box office and some controversy. The Reverend Jesse Jackson has called for a boycott of the movie, claiming that not enough black people in the film are killed by tornadoes. So at the end of the election, you know, it was trouble for the both candidates because they had the undecideds like me didn't know. And so they were trying their hardest to get us to know, but, you know, we were all dumb. We didn't know. And then they decided to go with commercials where they just have some animals in them, you know? Like I remember one, it was a bunch of wolves, you know, and then the narrator, he goes, hey, do you want a bunch of wolves to eat you? You're like, damn, no, that's a bad... That's the last thing I want. And then the other character, he came out with his own, because the wolf thing was working good. And so his was, he goes, would you rather be a ostrich or an eagle? And you're like, that's a tough one there. And the guy's like, you'd rather be an eagle, you retard? I would, yes, because then the wolf can't jump up as high enough to catch you. So you're like, all right. I'll tell you what I do like in the news, the big murder trials, you know, because I can follow that, you know. And now we have the greatest one that's coming up, you know, because it's the best when celebrities are up for murder, because then you know the guy, you know. And so, right? So they selected the jurors for the Robert Blake trial, so that will move on, and I'm happy about that, because I love Robert Blake. Ever since I was a kid, watched him. Beretta, my favorite show. God damn, that was a good show. I will say one thing about Robert Blake. The guy appears to have not the greatest alibi I've ever heard. Seems to be a relatively weak alibi to me. You know, and I'm no jurisprudence, you know, I don't know. But this is his alibi as far as I can figure it out. He goes, it couldn't have been me who shot my wife in the secluded area over by the side of the ditch. On account I have an alibi. Oh, where were you? I had to go back to the restaurant. I forgot my gun. Then I got my gun. I went back to where my wife is, and goddamn, somebody shot her. Now, so I don't know what alibis he discarded before he decided to go with that one, but...
Is this a really good question, Norm? Who's a familiar face for
It's
Blake?
a question from Blake's good friend, Norm. No, Blake, it's fun watching you this year. Wasn't it cool? Yeah.
Thank you.
And I was wondering, like, there's a kind of a curse with Rookie of the Year. Nobody's ever repeated it.
I didn't think about that. Well, I'll try as hard as I can next year, but...
All right, man.
I don't know. Thank you for that question, though. That's going on top of the goals for next year.
The parents of Honey Boo Boo are getting married this week. I don't know what any of that means, but it sounds fucking retarded.
So, Jenny, what month was your issue?
Quoting Churchill.
May of 08. Who was on the cover? Do you remember?
It was a Russian girl. And my nickname's Genocide, so I think that was kind of funny.
What?
What? What do you mean?
Is genocide giving her comedy fucking advice?
Why is that? It's funny because there was a genocide.
In Russia? Only about 70 years ago.
Against the Russian people.
Who still lives?
But me. That's not a
You
genocide.
first. Check it back. No, it wasn't a complete genocide.
What do you mean?
No, it was.
Well, Stalin was a mass murderer.
Only Jewish people seem to get really offended by my nickname.
There are fives in a case.
Dave's getting
Right,
well,
because they're the only ones that live.
well, the only true genocide was the. Well, I don't wanna say.
Another
What
one
about
this
the
way,
American
Sam.
Indians? That was a true genocide.
Wow. What?
The American Indians was a true genocide.
No, that was for land.
No, that was justified.
That was for land. We were taking their property.
No,
It doesn't matter. What doesn't matter what the motive
no,
is.
the genocide.
Yeah,
we
the
did
motive
against
is
the
to
Indians
just
was
hatred of a race to exterminate them
It was
without
just-
a political
it
or
was
economic
justifiable
agenda.
What we did with the
Well,
Indians.
it's not
No,
justifiable.
well, who's saying it's justified?
I said, well, let's
We got to bury them.
I'm just wondering how it's justified.
point counterpoint.
You've never
I'm trying to take another
You've never heard the legal term justifiable genocide? Hitler was out of his mind at the time. Clearly insane.
I'm trying to take another opinion so we can have some friction here. It's a television show, honey. I can't agree with
This
everything
guy
you
fancies
say.
himself a modern day Bill Maher.
Thank you for the dumb opinion.
You know, before I did the show, I never realized how much work it took to put on a production like this. Check it out. They spent 2 months building all these incredible sets. They had to coordinate 14 live music acts. And most impressive of all, they had to find a seat filler for Jennifer Lopez. She got a... What the fuck? What was that? Now, maybe you guys are right. Maybe she doesn't have a gigantic ass. I stand corrected. Well, just backstage, a lot of celebrities back there. Man, I was talking to Jerry Jones, you know, the Cowboys owner, and he's disappointed, obviously. Yeah. Well, he's a good guy, though, man. He's talking about rebuilding the team, you know, and he told me, he says, we have to get back to what made us a championship team. Strippers and crack. And of course, there are some important Washington figures who couldn't be here tonight. Vice President Al Gore is not here. Unfortunately, he broke down and they had to leave him in the shop overnight. But they say he'll be all right later. Something wrong with the voice box or something. I don't know what it was. House Speaker Newt Gingrich is not here. A little while back, of course, everybody knows that Newt pushed through a lot of budget cuts in the arts, particularly in PBS, you know, and the effects are being felt now. I can see it, even as a layman, you know, just watching. You know, the other day I watched that show, the Frugal Gourmet. It changed its name to the Cheap Bastard. I mean, it's crazy. And Senator Ted Kennedy couldn't be here. You know, there's a lot of jokes about Ted Kennedy, but I recently watched an interview. It was very touching. You know, Ted was talking about, or Mr. Kennedy. What the hell am I calling him Ted for? Senator Kennedy was talking about how he proposed to his lovely wife Vicki Reggie, and it was very touching. You know, it was a different side of Ted Kennedy that you don't see. He was very old-fashioned and romantic. You know, when he made the proposal, it was very nice. He got up on one knee and he. It was nice, you know.
We're joined by the talented trio called the Lonely Island.
Yeah,
who
you
will
know
be
what I
on the
call
big.
them?
What do you call them?
I call him Sandberg and the other couple of fellas.
The Mind Squad
The
is
other
how
couple.
Rolling Stone put it.
The other two, Akiva and Yorma. Thank you guys for joining us. Andy.
Thanks for knowing our names.
Yeah,
Thanks.
no, I read the card. You
written
guys ever been to a thing like this? No. What do you think?
Nothing like this.
It feels so pro and real. Am I on TV? Am I on the internet?
We don't know.
Oh, you're on
Yeah.
the computer.
You're on a velvet couch. You're on a maroon velvet couch in the beating hot sun.
Hey, can I ask a serious
beautiful.
question? I mean, fuck all these jokes. like when you name yourselves, right?
Yeah.
Do you ever have fucking moments of regret later because it's permanent, almost like a tattoo?
Absolutely. Yeah, The Lonely Island, I was outvoted.
Oh, you were?
Yeah.
What were the other runner-up names?
Well, our first album was called Incredibad, and I wanted that to be the name of the band. But
We would have had regrets about that too, though.
Probably.
Let's be honest.
There's no winning when you're a comedy troupe.
Does that happen a lot?
It all
Yeah,
sucks.
you're a troupe. Who comes up with the ideas, or do you guys fight a lot over ideas, or how does that work?
It's a democratic process.
Yeah.
2 out of 3 always. 2
2
out of 3 wins. Yeah.
Who's always getting left out?
Someone's always mad.
It's whoever's not
Yeah.
in town.
Got it.
How do you guys feel in your bodies? Do you feel healthy and strong?
Absolutely not.
I could be eating better.
Yeah.
Yeah, digestion could be going better.
Yeah. I feel like that about
Hey,
myself.
enough of these fucking jokes. Can I ask one more serious question?
Hit me with a real one, Norm.
Real one.
Sandberg, when you went to SNL,
Yeah.
you went different than anybody else because you were already a fucking big hit, right?
I don't think so. Is that true?
We were definitely not a big hit. No.
Oh, Saturday Night Live made you guys a big hit?
Yeah, I mean, we had a small internet following.
Oh, so the computer doesn't really work to make you a big hit?
I mean, that was like 17 years ago, right? How long ago was that? It was a while ago. It's changed now.
Yeah. Yeah. So when you started Incredibad
/ The Lonely Island.
Yeah, The Lonely Island. What's the significance of that name, though? That's what really I wanted to ask. The Lonely Island. You think of all islands as kind of lonely.
Do you really want to hear the story?
Yes, please.
I do
Yeah,
too.
do a real short version, which is just basically it was what we called the apartment we lived on Olympic with all the traffic. It was a sarcastic name from a sarcastic Tennessee Williams style sketch we did about the apartment. Akiva wrote a one-act play.
God damn, I wish I had a time machine.
To see that action.
Yeah, no, to take back my question.
Thought you were going to say to murder Hitler.
I would not. You know, people always fucking want to murder Hitler with their time machine, right? But then I feel if I got back there, I'd be afraid of falling under the spell of his fucking beautiful eyes.
It's true. You
and
want
oratory, and
be
then,
locked in the gaze.
yeah, and then I join the fucking party,
That's
knowing
his
me.
thing. He gives you his full attention. You're like, whoa,
All
wait
right.
a minute. Maybe there's
Norm,
something to
I'm
this guy.
No, but before you ask another serious
Believe
question,
it or
we
not,
gotta
they're
move
telling
on.
us to wrap it up. I don't exactly
I
know
want to.
why you guys.
Wrap what?
This
This is fun for everyone.
It's the
For the
Lonely
record,
Island, guys.
I would have killed Hitler. So thanks, gentlemen.
Can I just clarify? if I did go back in time to kill Hitler, I would do it.
Yeah, yeah.
I wouldn't get
That's
lost
the-
in
that's
his
the front
eyes and
door
then
choice.
bail.
Yeah.
Just so I don't get like
thanks for
hit
having
from
us.
all the like
I know, all the-
defamation
Yeah,
leads.
no,
Yeah,
He would, you would end it. Yeah.
Pro.
Listen,
Okay.
man, I'm sorry
We
about
gotta wrap it up.
I'm sorry
It's
about
over.
bringing up Hitler.
You really brought this live show to a new
This is
low.
the first one, right? This is your first interview?
It's just gonna get worse from
This is
here.
the first time I've
Oh,
ever
man.
interviewed a
Just
man.
sign
If you
of
can
things
bring
to
Hitler
come.
into all of them, they're going to ask you back for sure, which is I know what you want.
That's what we're all hoping for.
Okay, tell him to go now.
Or you could just be
Hey,
dressed
I
as
love
Hitler.
you guys, man. Rock tonight.
Jonathan Schmitz, the Jenny Jones guest who killed his secret gay admirer because of his fear and hatred of homosexuality, has been sentenced to 25 years in prison. Well, I guess that plan backfired, huh?
And you know, as an actor, it's hard, I've heard. But I had a TV show once, Norm. I played Norm. That was the one time I was not funny. No, it was a fine show. But we had a great actor on it, and his name was Jack Warden. You remember Jack Warden?
Of course I remember Jack
My
Warden.
God.
Yeah, great actor.
You remember them?
Well, they have a picture of Jack.
They have a picture of Jack Warden. There he is. You guys remember Jack
Yeah,
Warden?
likable. A Broadway star, too.
He was. He was on Broadway. He told me he was in The Man in the Glass booth where he had to go an hour and a half, one single monologue. Now, I have him on my show, the Norm Show. I played Norm. And his memory's gone, and he didn't like it, you know, and it frustrated him. And I remember I was in the scene with him, so I had to remember all my lines just in case he got his right. So it was really hard on me as well.
Yeah, it could take a toll on you.
Yeah,
sure.
so I remember the first line he had, we're watching a hockey game. He's a tough old guy, playing a tough old guy. And he was like, his line was supposed to be, I'll tell you, Normie, hockey's no good anymore, not since they put in their helmets. That was the line, right? So he looks over at me and just blank eyes. So I know he don't got nothing. But he's trying to use his acting skills, you know, so he looks at me and goes, Normie, Normie, Normie. And you could see what he remembered through what he said. Like, because he said it at this exact moment. He'd go like, "Nami, nami, nami. Hockey, nami." Hockey, nami. And we're in the set as a rink.
Oh, yeah.
Hockey, nami. I'll tell you about hockey, Normie. I'll tell you, it's no good anymore, Normie. You know why it's no good anymore, Normie? I'll tell you right now. Normie, Normie, Normie. That was cut. Take two.
So then, anyways, Woody Harrelson's really cool, and fucking actors, man. When they're really good, it's like something different,
right?
You know, and because I'm just waiting for the other fucker to stop talking and hope to God I remember.
You're
my
not even
line.
paying attention.
No, I'm just hoping to remember my words. So, anyways, fucking what's his name? Woody Harrelson asked me if I want a beer. You know,
Mm-hmm.
he goes, "You want a beer?" I go, "No, it's cool. I don't drink. You know." He goes, "You don't want a beer?" I go, "No, I don't drink, but thanks, man." And then I go, "You drink? Like, I thought you just smoked weed and all that shit." And then all of a sudden, Milos Forman goes, "Cut! What the fuck is going on?" Like we were in the movie.
You didn't know?
No.
You thought he was talking to you.
Because he was looking at me and talking like a regular person.
Oy vey.
There was nothing fake about it.
You got caught up in the movie.
He was such a good actor.
Right.
You didn't they yell action? There was nothing to do.
No, he doesn't say that.
He doesn't do that.
And then later...
Did you ever meet the real Larry
then
Flint?
later,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I met the real Larry Flint.
What was that like?
Oh, my God. He was at the fucking... It was this dinner where you talk in front of the president or some fucking thing where you're a comedian and the president's standing beside you.
Yeah.
So I was the president. I was the comedian.
Yeah.
And the president was president. Anyway, so whatever. Larry Flint is there, right? So he fucking meets me afterwards in the hallway, and he goes, "Ah!"
Because you don't understand
what the fuck? And I'm uncomfortable with anybody. Yeah, I get uncomfortable with people that have afflictions.
That's the one problem you have. You can't deal with afflictions.
I get nervous, and I look close to them, and then I hope they can't see the horror in my eyes.
I want to know how Larry Flint got that close to the president. Yeah, but go ahead.
He was like, because every year they have a kind of a joke guy, I guess, or something.
Right.
So he's like, so I have to get close to him. I'm like, what? And he goes, when you're in L.A., you ever get to L.A.? So I go, yeah, I get to L.A. He goes, I'll take care of you.
Wow.
Thank you.
Yeah, so then I was thinking in my head, like normally if a guy says, like, for instance, if my Uncle Basil said, "Hey, come to the Ottawa Valley, I'll take care of you," that'd mean he'd make you a nice mincemeat pie or something like that.
Right.
This, I had a feeling was...
He's going to fuck you.
I think maybe he would have fucked me.
I'm going to put it in your ass there, Norm.
No, he's not.
I'm gonna wrestle you and get
He's
on
the
top.
straightest guy in the world.
No, get in my lap. I'm going to have you ride around in my chair with me.
No, he's the straightest guy in the world. What I think it would mean is I'd be with some hot lady, and then all of a sudden he'd come in his wheelchair whacking off.
Listen to me.
Have you ever done anything in your long and storied career that you consider specifically to be in bad taste as you look back on it? Maybe at the time you thought it was a good play, but you look back on it and you think that was in bad taste.
Well, sometimes, like in stand-up, I'll do jokes that are like one time I was doing this thing in San Francisco and they were all gay people in the audience. They told me, so I figured I'll do.
In San Francisco?
Yeah.
No.
So I figured I'd do stuff about gay people so that they could relate to it.
Yeah, it's warm up. They love that.
And so I was talking about, because I went to this gay pride parade, and I saw in it there were these old men and old ladies like with these signs that said, "We are proud of our gay son," you know? And so I was saying, that's an odd thing to be proud of, you know, because it's not an achievement, you know? It's not like something you work all your life to be gay or anything like that. And I just wondered, I had a hard time believing that these 50, 60-year-old men are actually bragging, you know, at work like they're, "Hey, Bill, you know, my kid, oh my God, we're proud of him, Johnny. He graduated from Harvard, you know, first in his class, you know what I mean? Now he's articling over at a law firm, and, oh yeah, he loves cock." You know? This kid. He can't get enough cock in his mouth, his ass, his kid's always cock.
I got a picture of the boy here sucking another man's cock. I want to show it to him. He's gonna be proud.
To watch the maturation of you as an artist, to realize it took you 9.5 minutes to get around to the sucking cock stuff. It's beautiful to see you comfortable in your own skin, Normie.
Quite a year in music, though. Let's look back. A lot of classic songs have been covered this year, haven't they? Lenny Kravitz did "American Woman." Dwight Yoakam did "Crazy Little Thing Called Love." And Barry Manilow released an album entitled Manilow Sings Sinatra. And I'll tell you, it is a great CD, or as I like to call it, it is a great coaster. I like to throw my drinks on that. It's not a good CD at all. And
oh, I have an announcement to read. I almost forgot. I was told to make this announcement. Table 10, wherever you are, table 10. We're sorry your waitress hasn't been there in a while. Larry King just married her. So. I have to say, though, this is an incredible thing for me. I'm just a punk, and yet here I am, I can't believe I'm speaking in a room. I'm standing in a room here with the most powerful man in the country, Alan Greenspan, and it's a little amazing to me. It's a little, Of course, that's the big story in here in Washington is the recent marriage between NBC's Andrea Mitchell and Alan Greenspan, who is 71 years old. And this is sweet, I didn't know this. They wrote their own vows, She promised to love, honor, and speak into his good ear. So that was it's kind of sweet, Oh, we're back. I just have word that all the stars are out. Rhett McLaughlin and Charles Lincoln Neal just were spotted. All the stars. It was good to see those workaholic guys because I personally am a workaholic. For many years, I was helplessly addicted to workahol. The Roast Master General Jeff Ross joins us.
Hi,
Yes.
Jeff. Welcome. Hi, everybody. Oh, you got the first
Hello,
applause.
world.
Yeah.
Norm, this is so fun. Thank
Jeff,
you for having
man.
me on your live podcast.
It's always fun to see you without a giant cloud of marijuana smoke between us.
Well, it's outdoors. It drifted away.
Yeah, how you doing, buddy? You got your hair cut a little.
I had a little trim. I was at the doggy groomer for 2 hours today.
Now, I have a question, Jeff. You usually show up wearing something very exotic.
Yeah.
Why the denim today?
I dressed like Billy Jack.
Yeah.
You look sharp.
great.
I
Thank
like
you, Jenny.
it.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
We're trying to up my game for the live YouTube show.
Yeah.
Oh, man, you're a hot fucking piece of ass.
Look at that. I do all my shopping at the mall. Have you ever been to Forever 41?
Forever 41.
Norm, you're dressing like you're going to help somebody move. You're wearing sweatpants to the biggest show in YouTube history.
This is the biggest show on the internet.
You dress like you're going to paint the set.
He can't help himself. I got to ask you this, though. Hey, I saw, by the way, on the computer, a show you do now called Morning Roast. Unbelievable. You wake up in the morning, you turn on your computer, there's Jeff Ross waking up himself, roasting somebody. How's that work?
Well, whatever comes to my hungover head, I just start making fun of, and I put it up on my YouTube page.
God damn, it's funny.
Who should I roast this week?
What about Cassim?
Yeah,
It would be an honor
Cassim.
if you could just do me.
He's an Arab, if that helps.
I only roast celebrities, Cassim, so you're off the hook.
Orange is the new black. But not in my apartment building. Kevin is the new black.
Today is the 11th birthday of President Obama's youngest daughter, Sasha, or as I like to call her, the uppity one.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Yeah.
Jesus
I'm a regular mortal.
I really appreciate you coming on here tonight. I don't know if you've heard, but I'm not going to be around much longer.
Yes, I know. And
show.
I understand there's only 12 shows left, and this may be my last appearance.
Well, I hope not, but
So I was going to ask for a souvenir.
You know, you're the first person to bring this up, and I'm touched. And I want to say to you, Norm, as a friend and as somebody I have admired your entire career, whatever you want is yours. Except, Todd, you're not giving up the sweatshirt, are you? Anything you want.
Okay, excellent. Well, maybe, oh, I know.
What? No, wait a minute. That's, Norm, those are expensive. That's, can you? Be careful. Oh, my God. Norm, look out. It's fine. That's fine. It's still under warranty. Okay, we'll be right back with Norm MacDonald.
I'll tell you what, this is what happened with me with the psychiatrist once. I think this is why I don't do it anymore.
You did go to a psychiatrist.
When I was a young man, when
Yes.
I was like 17 or trouble kid, and they sent me to a psychiatrist.
Right.
And I talked to the guy, and I talked to him twice, right?
Right.
Next week, he fucking commits suicide.
Is that true?
So it's in the paper. Then I'm reading about the guy's the worst fucking life ever. Like coke and again, you know. I mean, I shouldn't say the worst, but you know, just the worst fucking life. And I felt so bad because here I am yammering to him on his last week of life about, my God, my mother. You know, so.
You did MTV Beach House recently, and you know, there's a certain kind of person you expect to show up on the MTV Beach House, and I hear, we'll be right back with MTV Beach House, our special guest, Norm MacDonald. I'm like, what the hell are you doing?
It's this.
What was that?
It's this show on MTV, right?
I know.
And it's at a beach.
It's at a beach.
And they don't script anything. Like, you know, they do like for anyway. So the dude, the host, was like, hey Norm, do you mind wearing a pair of trunks? You know, bathing trunks? And I go, no, I don't want to wear that. You know, because I'm like, my body's like all weird looking and everything. And everybody else is super hot ladies and super hot men. You know, I don't, you know, whatever.
Whatever you. Wow.
So,
got an issue about that. All right, go ahead.
So I'm on the show, right? So they're saying, hey, come on, seriously, put on the trunks. I'm like, no, man, I don't want to. So then they think this will be funny. They go, hey, we're going to show you a fashion show. Some dudes will come out, you know, and show you, you see what you think. I go, what? So all of a sudden, these three dudes come out, right, dancing around in their thongs and shorts and everything.
They're wearing thongs or shorts? Which one?
Bathing trunks, but some of them are like thongs where you can see their dirty arses. So, so I'm like watching it, you know, and I'm like, oh,
like
man.
Chaucer. Yeah, go ahead.
So I'm like, oh, I guess it is.
Okay, go ahead.
English. So I said, you know, oh, yeah, no, I'm pretending to go, oh, yeah, that's funny, right? And,
you do a lot of that at MTV, yeah.
So then the guy, the host, he goes to this one guy who was very, very, very gay. He goes,
what? How do you know that?
No, I mean,
you had a sign?
Yeah, he looked very, very gay. He says to this dude, he says, hey, I'll give you $20 if you lap dance on Norm. You know what I mean?
Right.
All of a sudden, this dude like, hey, $20. I guess he didn't have much money. Starts running towards me, right? So I look up. Here's this nude, almost nude dude running towards me, right? So I think in my head, okay, man, pretty soon the guy's going to be writhing around on my lap with his ass, you know? And I don't want that on TV, you know, forever.
No, it's okay to talk about it, but you don't want to see it.
Right. They videotape that, and it's there forever. So, meanwhile, what can I do? You know, you can't hit a guy because it looks bad. You know what I mean? You know? Even though, of course, a woman could hit a naked guy running at him.
Sure, that's
fine.
okay.
But a man can't hit him.
Yeah.
So I have to think fast. There's only a second. So I bolt. I take off, right?
You started running, too?
Yeah, running down the beach.
The guy catch you or no?
Yeah, and then I had to come back on. They're like, oh, Mr. Homophobic. I won't let a guy grind his ass into you.
Norm MacDonald trolled a lot of comedians over the span of his career, whether it be Anthony Jeselnik, David Spade, or Doug Stanhope. If you were anywhere near Norm, there was a really good chance he'd play a practical joke on you. So what happens when the king of jokes encounters what a lot of the internet and comedy space online considers the antithesis of jokes? Well, you're about to find out. Also, if you think my voice is AI, you're wrong. Joe Rogan has a bit of a reputation for missing jokes on his podcast and ducking punchlines from other comedians. comedians. We've even seen him get agitated at Harlan Williams for really committing to his bit when he was on his podcast.
Or by getting mauled by a Pride Alliance.
Well,
Does that mean they're gay if it's a Pride Alliance, by the way?
No, Pride isn't always gay.
Okay, they look gay to me.
Pride didn't used to be gay. It used to be like MRSA is medication-resistant staph infection.
Wow, a lot of black gospel singers get that, I hear.
MRSA?
Oh, that's Mercy. I'm sorry.
I'll show some more examples of this later on, but if you don't know the story Joe always tells about Norm Macdonald, I'll bring you up to speed really quick. Basically, Norm and Joe ran into each other on a plane, and Joe tells the story on his podcast anytime somebody brings up Norm Macdonald.
Have you hung out with him?
Yeah.
I've never hung out with him.
I hung out with him twice accidentally. On 2 separate occasions,
the
we were
airplane.
on planes. I told you about it, right?
I heard they are the one of them, and the smoking.
Yeah,
that's
the
hilarious.
Smoking, as soon as he landed, he was talking about how great it was to quit smoking. As soon as he landed, he ran into the gift shop and bought cigarettes and was lighting them before he was on his way out the door. I go, I thought you quit. He goes, I did. Talking about it. I wanted to smoke.
Yeah, he just does what he wants.
But
it feels
randomly, on 2 occasions, I just was sitting next to him on a plane.
So the story itself is pretty funny as a Norm fan, because this was obviously Norm playing a little bit of a practical joke on our boy Joe. What's even funnier, though, is that Joe still doesn't understand that Norm actually never quit smoking, and he was just messing with him the entire time. In fact, he likely still doesn't even know that Norm was messing with him the whole time. Obviously, it's really cool and fun to sit next to Norm on a plane randomly twice, but for him to run the I just quit smoking bit and Joe not get it is really funny and makes the bit even better. Joe has told the story on his podcast a bunch of times, and I'm pretty sure it comes up every time somebody on the show mentions Norm Macdonald. Like he told Tom Green on episode 2108 of the podcast, and Tom even told Joe that this is probably an elaborate setup and that Norm probably never quit smoking in the first place.
I was on a plane with him accidentally twice.
Nice.
Twice.
That must have been amazing.
Twice on 2 separate occasions. Just the moment we land, he walks into the gift shop, buys a pack of cigarettes, and he's lighting them before he gets out the door.
Yeah.
And I go, I thought you quit. He goes, I did, but all that talking about it made me want to smoke.
Yeah, it's probably all an elaborate setup, right? He probably was planning it the whole way.
I don't know.
Who knows? He probably doesn't even smoke. He was just doing it as a gag. No, he was.
Well, he was into gambling too, right? So
Yeah.
like people that have those kind of like impulse control issues, like gambling is a big impulsive thing. Like, I'm gonna fucking bet. I'm gonna bet on it.
Even when Tom tells Joe just says, I don't know, like it might be real and not be a bit. Tom Green is a Canadian comedian who is really good friends with Norm. He probably knows him better than a lot of comedians did. So if he's saying it's a bit and Joe won't take the hint, then he's probably never gonna realize that it was just a bit. Joe also told the story to Colin Quinn on the podcast, and Colin pretty much did exactly the same thing that Tom Green did and said there's no chance that Norm actually started smoking again, and that this was almost certainly just a goof. But once again, Joe plays coy and can't wrap his dick and balls around the fact that Norm was just fucking with him. I know Joe Rogan is big on not reading the comments, but anytime Joe mentions the plane story or Norm is mentioned on his podcast, there's a barrage of people who joke about Joe telling the same story over and over again, and these comments are so fucking funny anytime I read them. Now, I don't think that Norm disliked Joe Rogan. At worst, he probably just doesn't find Joe very funny, which he wouldn't be the first to think that if it was true. Like, there were several times he would joke about the Death Squad, which was a comedy group that Joe was a part of that included like Brian Redband, Tom Segura, Tony Hinchcliffe, and Ari Shaffir, and I think a few others.
We're all good. So you opened for Mencia, which made you the enemy of the Death Squad.
Yeah. Because
it's like a Bruce Lee movie.
Yeah, it's just like it.
So the Death Squad.
I don't know what Bruce Lee movie.
They're comedians.
Yeah.
Well, don't you think Death Squad makes more sense in a Bruce Lee movie than a comedy club?
That's true.
I went to a comedy club, and then the next week the Death Squad were there. It's just odd.
So even though Norm has made fun of Joe Rogan and the Death Squad as a whole, I really don't think that there's any bad blood between them. There was one time back in 2016 that Tony Hinchcliffe allegedly stole a joke from Norm, and he actually tweeted at Norm about the situation, asking if Joe could vouch for him. Joe obviously defended Tony, but then Norm basically said that the joke was definitely stolen in his eyes. So even when Joe vouched for Tony, it didn't really mean shit to Norm anyway. Then again, Norm might not have even cared that much and just wanted to fuck around around with Joe. That's one of the funniest things about Norm, was that you never really knew if he was being completely serious or not. Norm also trolled Doug Stanhope on Twitter when he said he would tell the story about how Doug changed his comedy career forever, and ended up never telling the story. So Norm was a big troll on Twitter, which makes me think maybe he wasn't even being serious when he tweeted at Joe about Tony and just wanted to stir the pot a little bit. I don't know, maybe you guys could leave your thoughts on that. Joe has said many times on the show how much he loves Norm MacDonald, which, you know, all of us do, and he said he would have done anything in his power to get him on the podcast. In fact, I think having Norm on would have broken the internet because of how many jokes Joe would have probably missed from Norm. As we know, Norm is the king of trolling, and we've also seen plenty of instances where Joe just completely misses jokes when said by other comedians on his show.
Have you heard of this?
I've heard of this, yeah.
Right, so it's going to be some sort of a quarter-sized thing they screw into your fucking head and a bunch of wires in there that lets you download information quicker. You're going to be able to talk with no words. That's his exact words to me.
Probably use your phone on a plane, I bet.
Oh, yeah. Well, I think you can now.
And I was like, whatever, I'll do. If I get fired here, whatever, I'll just go do Joe Rogan next week and I'll be fine. Anyway, I thought that was funny. No?
What?
I think it's safe to say Joe would have definitely had several bits fly over his head if Norm ever went on. I also know we would hear Joe bring up the story of the time he sat next to Norm on the plane and asked Norm about the smoking thing in person. And Norm, being as funny and as brilliant as he is, would have probably rolled with the punches and kept playing along with the bit and saying, "Joe, you know I wasn't joking, right? Tom Green and Colin Quinn were lying to you. Those dirty dogs." You know Norm would have played a few more tricks on Joe just for old time's sake. Norm might have even taken it further and said, "Joe, you know us sitting next to each other on the plane wasn't random, right? I had actually been following you both of those times." Or just some other goofy Norm type of shit he would say. Sadly, we'll never know for sure now that Norm is taking a dirt nap with Larry King. I think Norm was supposed to go on Joe Rogan's podcast at some point because there was an Ask Me Anything that Norm did where he was asked about going on Joe's podcast and he said he would do it. Then again, if you read this response and think about the type of guy Norm was, you might just see this and assume Norm was fucking around and actually had no plans to go on Joe's podcast at all. Obviously, we'll never 100% know for sure. I actually figured 2018 would have been a perfect time for Norm to go on Joe's podcast after all the Me Too stuff happened to him. If you haven't heard about this, I made a whole video covering it. Basically, Norm made some comments about like the Me Too movement and the backlash people received from it, and that got him in trouble. And he was also apparently contracted with Netflix when he had that show, Norm MacDonald Has a Show, and they said they didn't want him going on Joe's podcast, which really sucks because I figured Joe's platform could have helped Norm clear his name a little bit because honestly, he got in trouble for really not any good reason at all. Instead, he chose to go on that one show with all of those yammering bitches. I'm confident that Norm did still like Joe, even though he didn't find him funny more than likely, because after all the trolling and jokes about the Death Squad, according to Adam Egget, they were planning on starting up Norm's podcast, Norm MacDonald Live, again at some point, and they wanted Joe to be the first guest back.
I've been talking to Norm MacDonald a lot lately. I think we're gonna start the podcast up again. So, you know what? Yeah, we're gonna have. I think we would kill for you to be the first guest.
I would love to do
all
it.
right, good.
I'm 100% in.
Oh, thank God.
In.
Yeah, we have some good guests lined up. So now we're just gonna figure it out.
When are you gonna do your thing with Norm again? You gonna start soon?
Yeah, we've been planning for a while now. So now we're just going to. We just need to put all the nuts and bolts into place, and then get a studio, get a camera, and just do it. But you're going to be the first guest.
I'm in.
And this was at a time when Joe really wasn't doing anybody else's podcast, so for Joe to be so enthusiastic about going on just goes to show how much Norm meant to Joe. It's good that this fucking douchebag Adam Egget took some time away from his shift underneath the Queensboro Bridge to talk to Joe Rogan. I will say, if you look at the comments of this Adam Egget clip about Norm MacDonald with Joe Rogan, the comments are absolutely hysterical. If you're a Norm fan, my God, you gotta go check out these comments right now. In all seriousness, though, I really don't think Adam was trolling Joe because they have a very close working relationship together since Adam books the Comedy Mothership and previously he booked the Comedy Store. So from the sounds of it, Norm really did want to collaborate with Joe and have him on Norm MacDonald Live. Sadly, we never got to see it though, which is a damn shame because I really think the dynamic between the two of them would have been great. I know a lot of people don't think Joe's very funny, and I understand your opinion on that, but I really do think that together they would have been an interesting duo on a show. Maybe we would have got gotten to see Adam Egget get the shit beaten out of him by Norm and then Joe right after, back to back. Despite Joe not understanding that Norm was totally trolling him with the smoking bit, I'm happy he doesn't get it though, because that just makes the bit even funnier for all of us Norm fans. And anytime I hear him tell the story, I'll give him a pass because it is my favorite comedian he's talking about. But anyway, what do you guys think about this? Do you wish we could have gotten to see Norm on Joe Rogan's podcast? Are you happy we never got to see it because of who Joe is? What other comedian would you have liked to see Norm Macdonald make fun of on Norm Macdonald Live? Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. If you want to support me more, you can check out my second channel and get to know me better as a person. Other than that, thanks for all the likes, shares, and subscribes. I appreciate you all a bunch. Let me know if you like this type of cadence and delivery in the video narration better as well, because it was a little bit more fun to record the video like this, and if it's easier for you guys to listen to, I'll definitely keep it going moving forward. Thanks for watching all the way to the end. I love you guys, and I'll catch you in the next video. Take care.
No, I used to hang out with Norm Macdonald a lot. Me and Norm were really close.
God, I loved him.
And we used to go play tennis. And after we played tennis, we'd go into like the 7-Eleven. And we'd always do this thing where we go, okay, we're going to go in together. And each of us has to point at one item and make a joke about it. And it was really hard. Like,
so hard.
like people think making jokes as a comedian is easy, but it's not. But I'll never forget Norm did this. It's the only one I remember. But I pointed to, you remember those things, animal crackers?
Yeah.
And I pointed to the animal crackers, and Norm just goes, that horse cock didn't taste very good.
There's a lot of guys who sort of all of a sudden are like real big players.
Norm got his own TV show.
Norm's doing well. What?
What?
Do you hang out with Norm, or is it impossible?
It's pretty impossible because he's crazy.
He is.
In LA, I call him and he goes, I go, what happened last week? I called you to go. You called me? And I go, yeah. On my phone? I go, yeah. And he goes, oh, yeah, I got that. I go, well, you didn't call me back? No.
And he's serious.
Yeah, he's crazy.
And yeah, I know. Like, I have him on the show.
I love him, though. He's the funniest guy around. I think you need to be kind of crazy to be really funny.
He is very funny. I love him, too. And he has a gambling problem, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was telling us how
secret,
he was all excited that he had $80,000. He won $80,000 in Vegas, but he had lost like $100,000 on basketball.
Right, and that's on nickel slots. That's how serious he is.
Did you always know he had a gambling problem?
Mm-hmm.
You did. When did you know that? At Saturday Night Live?
I first knew he had a pee in a bottle problem.
Right.
Remember that? You always talk about
Yeah, it's
that.
great.
And then I knew.
Does he still save his urine? Do you know?
I don't know. He used to put it in Ziploc baggies, sign it, and send it to fans.
Is that true?
No.
Oh.
But he did. He would take, after Saturday Night Live, they give you a car, a limousine, if you want to go to the party, and he would take it to Atlantic City.
Really?
Yeah. He's a hard ass. He's hardcore, dude. I
know he'll even get into fist fights.
And then he'll stay at a table for hours and hours.
What do you think of that?
I feel lucky.
And then you don't even know if he's married or single. It's never really clear.
I don't know, but I know girls like him. He's when you're that something's that wrong, they pick up on it and like it.
They like the tragedy of that.
Fixer-upper, yeah.
Right. Yeah, I'm gonna make him a regular guy.
Right, but it never
I
worked.
don't know if Norm still tours. You'd be a good compliment for Norm, man.
You don't think I'm too much, too similar?
I don't know. I think it'd be funny.
Jeez, he's my hero.
I think it'd be work, yeah.
I'd be blown away.
Yeah, the guy's amazing.
Never met him.
Very funny. Well, just it's such an impressive stand-up to see live. You know?
Yeah.
Because you think right before he goes on, I opened up for him for about a year, and after we did Dirty Work, and then he always think like no matter where you are, you think like he's not gonna make it. Like he goes, he's holding his stomach. He goes, I can't do this, man. I go, I'm not gonna make it here. I don't want to go on. I want to quit. Like, he'll be fine. He'll be fine. And you got to push him in front of the microphone, and then he does an hour and 45 and like destroys. Doesn't take the mic out like this, like and then he just leaves.
Yeah. I saw him at Caroline's when I was broke. I was poor. I wasn't even in the club, so I had to pay the real fee. I couldn't be like, I'm a comic. They didn't know me.
I know.
And
you mean the fair prices over there too?
Yeah, right. I spent like $70.
That's great when you're broke.
Yeah. And I went and saw him, and he was killing, and he got heckled in the middle of the show, and he's drinking a Coca-Cola, and he just goes, it's dead silent, this tension, like, what's he gonna say? And he just goes, I don't know what to do about that, And then he goes back to the act. I've never seen anyone handle a heckle like that.
I don't know how to do it.
Yeah.
And now sometimes I just go,
Funniest guy on the planet.
No, he really is. He's up there. He's up there. He's very, very funny. He's a fun guy to talk. See, doing the road with a guy like that is fun for the late night conversations that last till 6 in the morning about show business, about who he hates.
Yeah.
Like you start talking about who you hate.
Yes.
Oh, it's fantastic.
That's the funnest stuff.
Oh, and who sucks and who you hate and this and that and the other thing, and then of course
stories.
I got 2 good Norm stories.
Good.
My first comedy club gig ever is in Catch a Rising Star, Princeton. And Norm MacDonald, this is 1990 or 91. Norm's done a few local talk shows in America, small time, but he hasn't made it in America. He's kind of got a little following, but now he's starting to headline in America at comedy clubs. This is at a time where in New Jersey, if you weren't telling dirty nursery rhymes wearing a leather jacket, you weren't really interesting to anybody. But here's Norm, this goofy Canadian accent, really telling these long, weird bits for 8 shows. And he probably bombed 3 out of 8 shows. Whenever he killed, he would kill, when it was a sophisticated crowd, he would get him and he would kill. He would just go backstage, he'd pull out a deck of cards, and he'd make me and Rich Voss play poker with him. When he bombed, Norm would go to the exit and say goodbye to every single person who left. Just to be weird and make us laugh and be awkward for the people. He would thank everyone for coming after he bombed.
Serious?
He was such a nut.
I love that. That's a committed person. But that's what I love.
You were Norm's assistant? And I was Norm's assistant, and I wish I could go back to those days. You got any Norm stories? Yeah, I hear this is my best Norm story. Yeah. So I went to the guys would take me out, like Keckner and Norm and Spade, and they're all fucking gems, really, really nice guys. They were always so nice to me, and I think they liked having me around because I was a young kid, and I would laugh, and I was just in fucking heaven. So they take me out. They took me out one night, and they were getting drunk and whatever. And so I meet this Australian girl, and we go back, fool around, whatever. And I come into work the next day, and I turn to Norm, and I go, I gotta tell you something, man. I go, and don't tell anybody. And he goes, oh, yeah, I won't tell anybody, And I go, last night, I went out with this girl, the girl at the bar. She goes, she snorted cocaine off my cock. Like that. And I was like, I know, I'm 20 years old or whatever, and I'm like, I couldn't believe it. I'm in the city for the first time, you know what I mean? And he goes, wow. He goes, oh my God, that's crazy. Cocaine off your cock. And I go, but don't tell anybody, because I don't want anyone to know. And so then maybe I don't know, 5 minutes later, the fucking UPS guy comes in, with the packages or whatever. And he's like, oh, hey, Daryl. And he's like, hey, Norm, how you doing? He's like, hey, you see this guy right here? Guy likes to get cocaine snorted off his cock. And I was like, now I wouldn't be embarrassed, but I'm fucking mortified. I'm like, I'm going to get fired. Oh, yeah. And he did it. He did it for 3 months.
To everybody.
At any point, I'd be standing there with the jokes. He'd be like, Jason, go get the jokes. And he'd be smoking in the hallway, and he'd be like, no. Because, he fucking had a really high bar for jokes. And fuck that. I'd be like, oh my God. And then there'd be a page standing next to him. He'd be like, hey, Jason? Guy likes to have cocaine snorted off his guy. So fucking funny. He did it to my mom. He said it to my mom once.
No.
Yeah. And then I remember because the other part of the job was that I would work the door at the parties. And my mom came down for the party.
At the after party.
The after party.
Yeah.
And she, and I was trying to keep Norm away from my mom so he wouldn't say that to my mom. And of course he goes, Jason likes to have cocaine. Snorted off his cock. And my mom was great. She goes, well, I bet you do a lot of weird stuff too, Norm.
Can you share some of the stuff?
With Norm?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That you have with Norm?
It was just, he reached out. He was a big, when people were going through it, Norm was one of the guys that would always reach out. And that was it. Just reached out. He sent me some cool stuff about funny will win.
Yeah.
That was the coolest shit ever.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
he was
amazing.
there's a war right. I don't want to spill the beans on a nice thing, but it was
you guys had a private thing.
Yeah, it was cool.
But
and
he was
it ended,
very supportive when you were going
he
through your
spoke
stuff.
poetically.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
And it ended, one of the messages ended with like, in a war for comedy, I think the ones with jokes will win. I was just like, yo.
Yeah.
That's fire.
Norm MacDonald is king.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he
amazing.
in no way has to do that.
No.
You know what I mean?
No.
To reach out, you know, especially at that time, I thought was really cool.
It was 2 years ago. I mean, he had.
Yeah, as he's battling something, no disrespect,
Yes.
way worse.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? He's like, hey, you need help?
I was with Adam Egget most of the time in Austin. The guy, you know Adam?
Yeah. From the store, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So me and Adam went to the Cowboys Eagles game, and we were hanging out, and the whole time, because he was best friends with Norm.
Yeah.
So he was like
Yeah.
going through it, but he went through it the same way as like we just talked like Norm the whole time. Like the whole game, we were like, he must have. Yeah, he got hit pretty hard. You know what's worse than getting hit like that? Blood cancer. It's no good, that blood cancer. Just like that the whole time. It was great. I hope that wasn't sharing too much for Adam.
No.
But it was fun. Norm's the best.
Yeah.
Well, it was, but he died of fucking... right. I forgot he fucking vanished.
Yeah.
Norm.
Yeah.
Classic.
Years old, right? And I'm 16 in the audience. And then I got to become this huge fan of Norm. And he was... Norm, but back then there wasn't a lot of people doing stand-up like Norm. Like there wasn't this sort of angle of sort of this absurdity to it. This sort of. It was more of a structured, down the middle way of doing stand-up back then. And so Norm was this sort of, he was a curveball. Yeah, this sort of curveball, and we just couldn't get enough of it. So every time we was in town, we'd be down there. But Howard Wagman told me this story about Norm, and the first time he came down to do stand-up at Yuck Yucks in Ottawa, and he got off stage and he was disappointed in how it went. Norm was. He said, I'm never doing this again. He walked down the street. Howard Wagman chased him down Spark Street in Ottawa and said, no, that was great. You're coming back. And he made him come back, and the rest is history.
I was on a plane with him accidentally twice.
Nice.
Twice.
That must have been amazing.
Twice on two separate occasions. Just totally random. We sat next to each other on the plane, like, whoa, this is crazy.
Yeah.
And the last one, it was so funny because he was telling me about how he quit smoking. Yeah, I quit smoking. It's fucking, turns out it's real bad for you. Like, this whole thing about quitting smoking. And we're talking about it, like, how hard was it to quit? This whole thing. The moment we land, he walks into the gift shop, buys a pack of cigarettes, and he's lighting them before he gets out the door.
Yeah.
And I go, I thought you quit. He goes, I did, but all that talking about it made me want to smoke.
Yeah, it's probably all an elaborate setup, right? He probably was planning it the whole way.
I don't know.
Who knows? He probably doesn't even smoke. He was just doing it as a gag. No, he was.
Did you know he was sick?
I didn't know.
No, me either. You said you had two stories. There was what's the other one?
Oh, so he'd invite me over to SNL once in a while to play poker on off nights, on Monday nights or something, and to watch him play poker while watching Monday Night Football and a baseball game, like he was a gambler.
Right.
And I guess somehow one time I found myself on a tape night on a live SNL. I'm in the hallway with a bunch of pages, writers, basically plus ones filling out the hallway. I don't know if I'm sure you've been up there enough to know that where the reception is, there's a lot of hubbub.
Right.
You can go to the dressing rooms this way, and to the right is the studio, and makeup, and there's a lot going on.
Yeah.
I believe Rosie O'Donnell was hosting SNL, and her very best friend Penny Marshall was there to support her. Penny Marshall, at the height of her movie director swag, is walking through the hallway with her head down, sunglasses on, baseball hat, doesn't want to be bothered, treating all these basically writers and NBC employees and me and Norm as big-timing us, pretending we're just looky-loos out on the street, right? Just doing a celebrity don't bother me moment.
Flyby.
Flyby, thank you. And Norm picks up on it, and he just starts pointing and screaming, Laverne! 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 And she didn't look up. She never knew it was Norm. She's just gone.
Oh, my gosh.
And of course, the whole hallway's falling down. Like,
I wonder if he's doing it.
He did Last Comic Standing. He was the only honest judge. He would tell comics they were hacks. It was awesome. The comics hated him. Joe List did it, and he goes, "Joe, you're a very good writer." And Anthony Jeselnik goes, "Hey, Joe, that Norm just called you ugly," which is such a great line.
Damn.
But, oh, my God.
I met him twice, and the first time I met him was I was doing this comedy-style competition at Caroline's, and it was the Final Four. It was me, Dan Soder, who eventually beat me in the final two. It was me, Soder, Nick Cobb, and Adam Newman.
Wow.
And Norm MacDonald was just chilling in the crowd watching.
Damn.
And he couldn't have been nicer. He was so freaking nice to all of us.
Yeah.
Complimenting our acts, being like, man, I could never do this type of thing, you know.
Ah.
So cool. And then the other time I met him was on Last Comic Standing when he was a judge, and I got eliminated in the first round. I had a pretty good set, better than a lot of people who moved on, but it's NBC, let's face it.
That's how it goes.
But I remember I had one joke that Norm singled out and goes, "That joke is gold." And that to me was like, it was to me, I didn't even feel that bad. I got locked off because I was like, Norm MacDonald, who is the judge that I connected to his work the most. It was Roseanne and Keenan. I connect to Roseanne's politics, of course, but no. But it was Roseanne and Keenan Ivory Wayans, and like obviously I love In Living Color, but Norm, I'm a comic. Norm was the guy I connected with, and the joke he loved was I said, you know, my last girlfriend was a hoarder, and she broke up with me, which stings extra hard. I'm like the one thing she can get rid of. And he said he loved that joke, and then I got Keenan kind of digged me in the last comic thing. He said, "No, I like some of your jokes, but not all of them." And I said, "Well, I loved all your scary movie films," and it got a huge laugh. And he said, "I only did the first two." And I was like, all right. I remember I saw Norm in like the food.
Yeah.
He couldn't let it pass. He couldn't take the L on that one. I knew I was out after that.
Right.
And then I'm walking through the thing. It was like a break. I guess they were taking a break, the paid audience, and I see Norm, and he goes, "I really like that you dug it."
Oh.
So that was a special moment.
He's
for
the real deal. He really is.
Yeah, I think he could tell. And I said I met you once at Caroline's, and I told him I really.
Because my story with Norm is it doesn't start out great, because I did Last Comic Standing in 2000 and whatever. It never aired. And I did my joke, and I did well, and it was him. It was Damon Wayans and Roseanne.
Yeah.
And Roseanne liked me. Damon Wayans, he was like not. He was just like, yeah. He just like smiled and laughed. I think he said right on. I don't know what he was just like barely there. Like he wasn't, I don't remember anything either way. And then Norm was like, "How many years have you been doing comedy?" I'm like, 4. He's like, "What? It takes 10 years to be a comedian. What are you doing here?" I was like, "Ah." And I remember that was the biggest gut punch I got in stand-up. And I remember being at the Hilton by where they shoot all those shows by, where is that? Universal City?
Yeah.
That area?
Yeah.
I was in the Hilton, and I was just like I couldn't even eat. I was like, this is horrible. And I spoke to one of the comics I was staying with at that point, and he was like, "Last Comic Standing." He's like, "You go in there and they pay legends to tell you not to do what you love," which is kind of what. But I got over it. I kept doing it. And then he became a fan of us later on and a lot of shit we were doing. And he was right. You know, I was a 4-year, 5-year comic then. It's like, you do need more time to mature. But he used to, speaking of Spade, when we did, we all staying at the hotel in Boston, this nice hotel. And one day we were just sitting in Spade's room because he had a big room, you know?
Yeah.
And we're all sitting there, and then suddenly the door rings, and it's like $800 worth of like steaks and stuff like that. And then Spade's like, I don't think I ordered this. No, goes, "I ordered it. I figured you said you were hungry before." And he's like, eh. And he would do it all the time. Spade,
great.
and then Spade would just be like so funny along, like, "Yeah, I don't know if I wanted to pay for everybody's eat." You know? Half these people I don't even know. Like, "Yeah, I figured we'll have hungry. Everybody's probably hungry. You guys are hungry." You'd just be sitting there, and he'd eat like the steak, like just cut it like, a cartoon technique.
Yeah, right.
This is good steak.
With his oversized T-shirt.
And it would play off each other. Watching them was like one of the funniest things, like watching a TV show.
I was writing like bad sketch jokes my like first year in LA with
with a friend of mine at the Coffee Bean. I don't even think it's there anymore, across from the mall. And it's late, and they're about to close down. And in walks Norm MacDonald. And the girl says to me, who I'm writing with, this girl that I worked with at a production company, she says to me, she goes, "Oh, yeah, you know who that is, right?" And I go, "Holy fuck, holy shit." And she goes, "That's the Bob Dole guy." I go, "The Bob Dole guy?"
Oh, I would have ripped her eyes out.
I mean, I was like, "It's fucking Norm MacDonald." And
Yeah.
she's like, "No, I know, I forgot his name." I was like,
Oh,
what?
God.
So we sit there, and I'm kind of fanboying out, and I'm just kind of, like not trying to face him, and he's ordering coffee, and I keep kind of looking over just to like, because you just want to get a glimpse, because when I'm 22, I just moved to LA, I was like, fuck, holy shit, it's Norm MacDonald. He comes in there where the coffee is. He looks over. She's a pretty girl, okay, and obviously doesn't see me at all, doesn't know I exist, and he's kind of trying to talk her up a little bit. He's like, what are you guys doing? And she goes, "Oh, we're writing sketches." And he goes, "Oh yeah, I know a thing or two about sketches." And both of us were like, "Yeah, no, we know." Like, and I started stumbling. I'm like, "No, I'm a fan of your sketches,"
Right. Yeah.
And he goes, "Oh, okay. Well, I'm gonna go next door. I'm gonna get a Steinbeck novel, Barnes and Noble. There used to be a Barnes and Noble." He goes,
Yeah.
"I'm gonna get a Steinbeck novel." I'm laughing, thinking he's just making jokes. And he goes, "I'll be back. Okay, I'll be back." And he
Yeah.
walks out, and I'm like, "Whoa, how fucking cool was that?" Hand to God, he comes back in with a Steinbeck novel, and sits down by us and just starts talking.
Oh my God.
I swear on my life.
Oh my God.
It was almost like you started a Norm engine and he just wanted to talk. So he just started talking and talking and talking and telling stories. And I shouldn't tell it, like, I don't want to fuck it up, but the best story he told, I said, "What was your most, like, secret fun thing that happened at SNL that, like, what was some inside shit?" And he goes, Smigel and I, Robert Smigel. If you don't know who Robert Smigel is, he's Triumph the Insult Comic Dog. He's the voice and the genius behind that. Smigel's a fucking phenomenal genius writer and comedian. He goes, "Smigel and I, we used to write sketches for Tracy, because we knew Tracy Morgan. We knew Tracy, he was bad in table reads. He couldn't read for shit. He's a fucking stumble through words, So one time we wrote this sketch that we knew was going to tank. Lauren hated it. And we showed it to Tracy anyway because we knew he had trouble reading. He had someone helping him read. He had bad time with S's. So we wrote this sketch about this guy who's like a gay animal handler named Brian Fellows. Do you remember that sketch?
Yeah.
Brian Fellows? And he goes, if you look, the best part for us was it was Brian Fellows, 'S, Safari Planet. It was 3 S's in a row is the sketch that we pitched. So in the room, even though the sketch was bad, we knew Tracy would go, "Brian Fellows, this is Brian Fellows, this is Safari Planet." And we knew we would crush in the room. He goes, and everybody lost it. He was like, the sketch was terrible. But Tracy would go, "Brian Fellows, this is Safari Planet."
Yeah.
And Norm goes, he goes, "That is the funniest thing. We used to fuck with Tracy all the time." And dude, I was like, my heart was filled with comedy warmth.
Yeah.
This is the most wild part. Again, I don't believe that this happened. To myself, I'm going, this is a lie. You're making this up.
Right.
But she's my proof. We walk out when they finally close the doors. After they're like, "Mr. MacDonald, you can stay." The Coffee Bean kids are sitting just listening. We all walk outside, and he starts taking off, kind of headed north on La Cienega. And as a joke, my friend goes, "Do you want to ride? Are you walking?" And he goes, no, I don't want to get in the car with you. And we start laughing, and he goes, "Okay, shotgun." And he comes and runs, sits in the front seat.
No.
I swear to God on my life.
Oh my God.
Her car. I'm sitting in the back seat, and he's showing us where to go, and we drop him off at his house, and at this complex. And he gets out, and he kind of opens the door, and we didn't say anything the whole car ride.
Right.
We just listened to him going, "Left here, right here." And he gets out, and he turns and looks in the car, and all he said,
or tattoos, like of me as Joe Dirt. They send you, a lot of you get a lot of tattoos of stuff, like things you say or photos or whatever. Or they send me ones of Farley or whatever. So this guy sends me he's got Norm of all morons on his hand, Norm MacDonald. So I text Norm, I just send it to him. I go, "Hey, you have fans." And then I put in parentheses, "fan." all we know is for sure this one guy. Uh-huh. And then of course, like days later, "David, hello, it's me, Norm. How are you?" Have you ever texted with Norm?
No, I haven't. No.
Times 1,000. He just goes, he waits days, and then at 3 a.m, "Hello?" I go, Oh, what are you doing? Are you answering me from 4 days ago? Is that what you're doing? Dave, it's Norm. Do you like money? Yes, Norm, I like money. Why? Would you like to have more money than all your wildest dreams? Yes, I would. And then an hour later, would you like to walk into a dealership and point to a car and then just buy it? I go, of course. How? And then 3 hours later, bet the over in the Blackhawks game in the first quarter. First period or something. I go, oh, okay. Too bad that game was 6 days ago, you fucking idiot.
When Norm MacDonald, I wonder what you think of this. He said, do you want to, I think he was talking about Bill Maher. There are a number of comedians you can do this with, I suppose. But he said, do you want to be a comedian or do you want to be a smart guy? Do you, are you going to pick? Are you going to pick? Where are you philosophically on that?
Oh, I want to be a smart guy. Like Norman, and I love Norm MacDonald. He is my hero. He is one of my idols. We worked together on Last Comic Standing and did not get along. I took the job to work with him. Our philosophies were very different, and his criticisms of the other comics. He was a judge. I was the host. I was surprised by. And so it was just very different philosophically. All the respect in the world for Norm and what he did. It was amazing. I never try to replicate what he... No, not that I would change anything about Norm MacDonald. It's very different.
You didn't get along, though. You thought you were going to get along. You were hoping to get along. And one of your heroes...
I wanted to be best friends. But I think we were both... and we figured it out. But I think we were both a little disappointed in the job we had taken. And saw the other comedians on the show and were like, fuck, what are we doing here? And so we were both not in the greatest of moods and then would butt heads a little bit. Like just because he's my idol didn't mean that I backed down at all. I kind of treated Last Comic Standing like it was my show and no one else thought that. And so, yeah, we were gonna butt heads, but that's okay.
It is okay, but I wonder if, you're going in thinking someone's going to be your best friend. You're a loner. He's a hero of yours. I imagine a bit of an inspiration at least. And yes, of course, it's okay that you didn't get along, but it would have been better than okay if you had.
Sure, but it didn't make me like him less or respect him less. It was like, this is an issue of mine and his. Like neither one of us had, a lot of friends or was around people a lot of the time. But, yeah, I think right off the bat, I think he said something. I made fun of him for it. He wasn't happy about it. And I was like, I'm going to keep making fun of you because I took this job. And I'm not just going to sit here and let you take over. And that was, it was a tough week. We did 8 episodes of that show. Yeah.
And neither one of you liked being there because you thought the show was going to be something different, or you thought this particular thing, once you realized it wasn't up to your standard, you're like, what have I done? Or
I think Norm and I thought this was going to be like the Norm. I thought this was going to be the Norm and Anthony show where the comics go and perform, and they're all bad. Like they're all like young comics doing 3 minutes. It's not like the comics were bad, but it was still all about them. And if the comics were really bad and we said something funny about it, then that whole thing was cut from the show because they only wanted to show the good comics. So Norm and I were like, what are we doing here? If we can't give our real opinion, you don't want anyone to be mean. And there's 100 fucking contestants. We were both just like, this is not the best use of our time.
Legendary baseball announcer Bob Uecker recently passed away on January 16th, 2025 at 90 years old, which I think is a ripe old age for a sports commentator. You might remember Bob from Real Sports Commentary, or if you're like me, you first saw him in the legendary comedy baseball movie Major League, where he played Harry Doyle. No matter where you knew Bob Uecker from, he was beloved by many, including comedians Norm MacDonald and Artie Lang. Given the time, I thought I would pay homage to the late great Bob Uecker by talking a little bit about him and also revisiting some of Norm and Artie's favorite stories about Bob. Not only was Bob a great baseball commentator, but he was also known to be an incredibly funny guy with a big personality and a sailor's vocabulary. Norm MacDonald, being an avid viewer of sports and loving the craft of comedy, naturally came to love Bob Uecker as a friend when their paths finally crossed. Norm also loved Bob because he was a deeply closeted gay man. Anyway, the story begins because Norm actually did a pretty silly commercial with Bob Uecker and Steve Higgins where he hits on a lady and tries to lie down on top of her. This was back when Norm was doing the Norm Show where he played Norm, and this commercial is originally what brought Bob, Norm, and Artie together for the first time.
Hi.
Oh, yeah, hi.
You seem a little slow there.
Well, I was stunned by your beauty. Buy you a Miller Lite, it tastes great.
Sure, but I like it because it's less filling.
Huh? Well, opposites attract. That's a good one. You want to go someplace and talk?
Yeah.
Grab a Miller Lite. It's Miller time. Rookie.
The little cameo from Bob at the end is the icing on the cake for a great commercial. There's not a lot of commercials that make me want to drink and drive into a hot woman's house, but this one sure did take the cake for me. If you look at the comments on this video, it's filled with classic Norm references, which just makes this old commercial even better to visit on YouTube. Then Norman already made an appearance on the Howard Stern show back in the late 2000s, and Howard proceeded to ask them about their experiences working and hanging out with Bob Uecker. Artie had originally shared a story about Bob Uecker on Late Show with David Letterman, and apparently the story did not give a super flattering image of Bob based on some of his filthy language he uses when he's not on the air talking about baseball. Artie tells the story of how they met Bob and also the story that got him in trouble with Bob on the Howard Stern show.
I talked to Bob Uecker, by the way.
Oh, did you? Did you see that?
Yeah,
Was he mad?
Whatever.
Was he really?
Was he? What do you mean?
Last time I went on Letterman, I told a story about Bob Uecker. Norm did a commercial for light beer.
Okay.
So it was when we were doing the Norm show. So he invited Norm out to spring training in Phoenix, Arizona, and said, "Look, man, come the fuck out to Arizona, man." You know, he's a guy you hear on the TV.
Yeah, Bob Uecker.
Right, but he's so filthy when he talks. Every other word is fuck. It's unbelievable.
Right.
And he's one of the funniest guys I've ever met.
Right.
So Norm says to me, "Hey, man, let's go hang out with Uecker," because he knows I'm a big fan. So we go to Arizona. And it's the funniest 24-hour period I've ever spent. We played a round of golf with Bob Uecker, and he let us sit in the booth to listen to him announce a Brewer Cub game. He had a cough button. You know, if you're going to cough, you hit the cough button and you're not on the air.
Sure.
So from what I remember, Norm may not remember this because he's friends with Bob Uecker. But anyway, Uecker would be announcing the baseball game.
Right.
And like a fucking jazz musician, it was unbelievable. If he saw a really hot chick in the crowd, he would hit the cough button and say something filthy about her. So he would say shit like this. He'd go, here's the 2-2 pitch to Sosa, ground ball to shortstop. Look at the fucking tits on that whore. Over to first base, 2 down.
And he'd hit the button that quickly.
That's the story I told on Letterman. I cleaned it up.
Right.
And he started using like old guy words for the chicks. Like he'd go, fly ball to center field. God, I'd like to get with that trollop. That's the third out.
To me, this story is hilarious, and it really sucks that Bob didn't like it, because I would imagine that this impression of Bob crushed on the Letterman show. It's just fucking funny to think that Bob Uecker had to be so clean-cut and professional on the microphone when he was commentating baseball, but the second he was off the air, he would just immediately let loose and start cussing up a storm. Norm also told a story about Bob Uecker on Letterman, but we will get to that one a little later on in the video. Then Norm tells the story on Stern about the time they were with Bob, and they saw singer John Fogerty.
So he sees John Fogerty, you know, from Creedence Clearwater Revival. So he's like, "Hey man, that fucker's a rock singer." He goes, "But he can get out of the sand trap like nobody's fucking business. I played in a charity tournament with him." So we're like, "Yeah, we know what John Fogerty is." And he goes, "At the 7th inning stretch, I'll have the fucker come up and sing for you."
Fogerty's there with his kid, by the way. He's a big cub face. He's here with his 8-year-old son, John Fogerty.
So we're like, no, you don't have to do that.
Right, don't get John Fogerty to sing.
Leave him
for
alone. It's all right. We don't want him singing in front of us.
So then he gets mad at us. He goes, "Do you even know who fucking John Fogerty is?" So we go, yeah. He did Creedence Clearwater Revival. He goes, "Yeah, he did all that fucking shit."
This is one of my favorite stories Norm has ever told because he really does Bob Uecker justice with the impression of him. It reminds me a lot of this scene from the movie Major League where Bob Uecker curses on the air.
That's all. We got one goddamn hit.
You can't say goddamn on the air.
Don't worry, nobody's listening anyway.
A classic movie scene from Bob. Norm also told the John Fogerty story on Letterman, and even though it's censored for television, the story is every bit as funny as it was on Stern, and it's probably the hardest I've ever seen David Letterman laugh on his own show since he had on Charles Grodin back in the 80s. Anyway, after Norm told the John Fogerty story, he talks about Bob's reaction to Artie telling the story about him on Letterman, and he also added a few additional stories about Bob after this, and it's so fucking funny to listen to the whole thing.
A couple weeks ago, 3 weeks, a month ago, whatever, for spring training, and I went up to the booth, and he goes, "Man," what about that fucking Artie Klein?
Artie Klein.
The funniest thing is he goes, That cocksucker must be running a little short of material.
So even as a non-comedian, Bob Uecker was just an incredibly funny man. He probably had what it takes to be a part of the elite 250 comedians that exist in the world. No more, no less. As a younger fella though, I might not have gotten to see Bob Uecker in action as much as a more distinguished fella, but from the stories Norm Macdonald and Artie Lange told, as well as his awesome role as Harry Doyle in the movie Major League, I can't help but love the guy, and I'm very upset to hear about him losing his life. I'm just happy I got to appreciate the guy in some way, and some of the hilarious interactions he had with a few of my favorite comedians. Also, if you'd like to hear Norm's story on Letterman, and also a few more stories about Bob Uecker, you could check out The Appearance for yourself, and also this video where Artie shares a few more stories about Bob Uecker that are all really, really funny to listen to. Long live Bob Uecker, long live Norm Macdonald, and how the fuck did Artie Lange manage to outlive both of these guys? Anyway, I hope you guys got something from this. I really just wanted to take a couple minutes today and share a few of my favorite Bob Uecker stories from Norm and Artie Lange to commemorate what an amazing life Bob Uecker had, and I really hope you all enjoyed it. But what do you guys think? Did you love these stories from Norm Macdonald and Artie Lange? Did you hate the stories? Do you think Bob Uecker owns a doghouse? Also, do you think Artie went too far by sharing those stories on Letterman? Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Also, please check out my second channel if you guys want to support me more and get to know me better as a person. I'd really appreciate if you could check it out, but if not, it's up to you. I totally understand. I really appreciate all the likes, comments, shares, and subscribers, and I can't thank you guys enough for all the support I've received lately on both channels. That's all I got for you guys today. I love you, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Norm Macdonald is one of the most respected comedians to ever walk the planet, and in his time alive, he had a reputation for being a very dangerous choice as a host, whether it be at the ESPY Awards.
That is something that no one can ever take away from you. Unless you kill your wife and a waiter, in which case...
or hosting Weekend Update.
Well, it is finally official. Murder is legal in the state of California.
If you had Norm host your show or event, there was always a chance that he'd make you regret it. Today we're going to take an introspective look at the time Norm Macdonald was invited to host the show before the show on YouTube's big live comedy show and absolutely shat on it in the funniest possible way. YouTube Comedy Week was met with a lot of bad reception from comedy fans, and most people don't remember the actual event fondly at all. But a lot of people remember Norm making this dumpster fire of an event watchable in the first place. Let's not waste any more time, and let's hop right into it. The show starts off with Jenny Slate and Kasim G introducing themselves, and within a minute, Norm establishes his comedy dominance and starts clowning on the event as a whole.
And joining us in the show before the show living room is host of Norm Macdonald Live on YouTube, the wonderful Norm Macdonald.
Yes, and Jenny, all the stars are here.
Do you want a microphone, Norm?
Yes. Is that my tree?
What a disaster.
Jenny, all the stars are here.
It's true.
Beardy Man, Claude Racine, Dax Flame, Betty Fine,
You got it.
and Raphael Fine. All the stars
You really keep up with all that
are
stuff.
here tonight. Oh, yes. Harley Morenstein is here.
All right. And we also have comedian Todd Glass. He'll be hanging out backstage with some of tonight's guests. And host.
I feel like Todd will be struggling to know these people.
I'm sorry. I'm going to continue with the what the computer says, Norm. Although I'd love to talk to you more than this computer.
We're on
but
the
I have to do
computer.
what the computer says, even though I do love you, Norm. I think you're one
Okay.
of the best. We're also going to be talking to the
Well,
host
I'm no Harley Morenstein.
You're not, Norm, but you gotta just let me read this fucking thing.
Okay, so we have Jenny Slate in a business casual dress, Kasim G in a blazer and khakis, and Norm Macdonald is wearing fucking sweatpants and a hoodie in the beating red sun of Los Angeles, California. God damn it, dude. He's reading the names of these people with not a care in the world, and it made me laugh way harder than it should have. You can also see Kasim cracking the fuck up as Norm does this at several other parts. It's great to see Kasim being a good sport about the ribbing early on. More on this later. So as Norm berates and interrupts Jenny in the intro, we eventually get to the first guest, which are the Lonely Island, and this has some of the funniest lines from the entire segment.
We're joined by the talented trio called the Lonely Island.
Yeah,
who
you know
will be
what I
on the
call
big.
them?
What do you call them?
I call them Sandberg and the other couple of fellows.
The Mind Squad
The
is
other
how
couple.
Rolling Stone put it.
You guys ever been to a thing like this? No.
What do you think?
Nothing like this.
It feels so pro and real. Am I on TV? Am I on the internet?
We don't know.
Oh, you're on the computer.
You're on a velvet couch. You're on a maroon velvet couch in the beating hot sun.
Hey, can I ask a serious question? I mean, fuck all these jokes. When you name yourselves, right?
Yeah.
Do you ever have fucking moments of regret later because it's permanent, almost like a tattoo?
Absolutely. Yeah. The Lonely Island, I was outvoted.
Oh, you were?
Yeah.
What were the other runner-up names?
Well, our first album was called Incredibad, and I wanted that to be the name of the band. But
How do you guys feel in your bodies? Do you feel healthy and strong?
Absolutely not.
I could be eating better.
Yeah.
Yeah, digestion could be going better.
Yeah. I feel like that about
Hey,
myself.
enough of these fucking jokes. Can I ask one more serious question?
Hit me with a real one, Norm.
The Lonely Island. You think of all islands as kind of lonely.
Do you really want to hear the story?
Yes,
I do
please.
I do
I do a
too.
real short version, which is just basically, it was what we called the apartment we lived on Olympic with all the traffic. It was a sarcastic name from a sarcastic Tennessee Williams style sketch we did about the apartment. Akiva wrote a one-act play.
God damn, I wish I had a time machine.
To see that action.
Yeah, no, to take back my question.
The entire time Norm is riffing with Andy, he keeps throwing in the phrase, on the computer, which is just way funnier than it should be. Seriously, nobody but Norm could make this as funny as it was. It's also funny when anybody else tries to riff or ask a goofy question, Norm just cuts it off and says,
Hey, can I ask a serious question? I mean, fuck all these jokes.
Myself.
Enough of these fucking jokes.
Then we get to the best part of the Lonely Island, which is this.
Thought you were going to say to murder Hitler.
I would not. You know, people always fucking want to murder Hitler with their time machine, right? But then I feel if I got back there, I'd be afraid of falling under the spell of his fucking beautiful eyes.
It's true.
And oratory, and
he
then,
locked in the gaze.
yeah, and then I join the fucking party,
That's
knowing
his
me.
thing. He gives you his full attention. You're like, whoa,
All
wait
right.
a minute. Maybe there's
Norm,
something to
I'm
this guy.
No, but before you ask another serious
Believe
question,
it or
we
not,
gotta
they're
move
telling
on.
us to wrap it up. I don't exactly
I don't
know
want to.
why you
Wrap
guys.
what? This is fun for everyone.
It's the
For the
Lonely
record,
Island, guys.
I would have killed Hitler. So thanks, gentlemen.
Can I just clarify? if I did go back in time to kill Hitler, I would do it.
Yeah, yeah.
I wouldn't get
That's
lost
the
in his
front
eyes
door
and then
choice.
bail.
Yeah.
Just so I don't get like
thanks for
hit from
having
all the like
I know, all the-
defamation
Yeah,
leagues.
no,
Yeah,
He would, you would
Yeah.
end it. Yeah.
Pro.
Listen,
Okay.
man, I'm sorry about
We gotta wrap it up.
I'm sorry
It's
about
over.
bringing up Hitler.
Man, seeing Jenny Slate get uncomfortable and have to bring this interview to a halt is just fucking amazing. Norm's just cackling and losing his shit, enjoying the havoc he's wreaking. The best part about these shows Norm hosts is that I feel like he doesn't even want to do them, but maybe he's just bored and doesn't feel like reading John Steinbeck, so he just decides he's going to do the event and fuck with everybody involved. God bless Norm doing all of this for our entertainment. Then they have Jeff Ross as a guest who actually teases Norm a bit and they go back and forth, and it's pretty funny overall.
The Roastmaster General Jeff Ross joins us.
Hi,
Yes.
Jeff.
Welcome.
Hi, everybody.
Oh, you got the first
Hello,
applause.
world.
Yeah.
Norm, this is so fun. Thank
Yeah,
you for having
man.
me on your live podcast.
It's always fun to see you without a giant cloud of marijuana smoke between us.
Well, it's outdoors. It drifted away.
Yeah, how you doing, buddy? You got your hair cut a little.
I had a little trim. I was at the doggy groomer for 2 hours today.
Yeah.
Oh, man, you're a hot fucking piece of ass.
Look at that. I do all my shopping at the mall. Have you ever been to Forever 41?
Forever 41.
Norm, you're
Listen.
dressing like you're going to help somebody move. You're wearing sweatpants to the biggest show in YouTube history.
This is the biggest show on the internet.
You dress like you're going to paint the set.
He can't help himself.
Who should I roast this week?
What about Cassim?
Yeah,
It would be an honor
Cassim.
if you could just do me.
He's an Arab, if that helps.
I only roast celebrities, Cassim, so you're off the hook.
Thank you.
What do you dress like? You're like Harry Potter's accountant.
You just not that up.
Well, I want to thank Jeff Ross for turning the mirror on me today. Back to you guys over there.
Like the inventor of a cure of some disease we haven't thought of yet. Look at you, like Orville Redenbacher's fluffer. I don't know.
No surprise here, when two real comedians banter, it's actually pretty solid. Then in the next segment, we have Cassim and Jenny doing some type of YouTube promo while Norm just stares down the barrel of the camera intensely. It gets to a part where Norm gets a free tablet and Cassim tries to poke fun at him.
Bah.
Norm, do you know that you can watch live stream stuff on your phone?
I
or
don't
tablet?
believe that's true. I know I can watch it on my computer, but I don't believe I can watch it on anything other than my computer.
Today is a day for you then. Guess what?
What?
Google, our
Yeah.
friends at Google here, sent us a free Nexus 7 tablet.
Don't say us.
Yeah.
Don't say us.
It was just you.
Just Norm.
Let's not get all fucking plural.
Thanks, Google. What I wanted to show you is how easy it is to watch yourself and other live streams on your tablet device.
On the computer.
On the computer.
Yeah.
Go ahead and hit play there.
Okay.
It's
Oh,
right
I
there
see.
in my...
It's so simple.
Do you see your face?
Oh yeah, it's me with a huge fat fucking face.
Yeah, I didn't want to be the one to say it.
Yeah, I've been having a lot of trouble. My doctor, he said he's not a very nice guy. He said, open your mouth and say oink.
Yeah, you need to get better insurance, Norm.
Insurance? He was calling me a fat pig.
Well, I mean, nobody's going to disagree with him.
Oh, Kasim.
I'm sorry, Norm. I've got an acid tongue.
You do. You're an acid-tongued Arab.
Acid-tongued Arab. God damn it, dude. My favorite part about this is when Norm tells the doctor joke and looks right down the barrel of the camera. Then when Kasim responds, Norm is dumbfounded by it and makes the goofiest face before shitting on Kasim again. Then there's a comedian/magician who comes on and does a little party trick, and throughout the whole thing, Norm is just being a goofball, calling him a sorcerer. All these one-liners Norm drops are excellent, man. Just can't get enough of it. Then my favorite part is when Sarah Silverman comes on, who is one of the organizers for YouTube Comedy Week, and she gets into it a little bit with Norm.
It'll be fun.
Hey,
Norm, thanks for dressing up.
Hey, Sarah, listen, man. Congratulations. That's the 100th time that joke's been done tonight. But I also want to tell you, I have a bet with Daniel Kellison, a rather large figure.
Daniel Kellison, who put this whole thing together,
Yeah.
way over his head.
He says you
did it.
He says you can explain what the fuck Jash is.
Jash is.
Pay up, fucker.
Jash is a comedy collective, a United Artists, if you will. Uniting myself, Reggie Watts, Michael Cera, and Tim and Eric. And what do? We do whatever we dream up. We shoot it, and it goes on there. We can fail, we can do well. It's total freedom.
No offense, but it sounds like some fucking commie gobbledygook.
You got me, Norm.
I mean, I've never heard the word collective.
I know, but
Leon
Daniel
Trotsky.
puts buzzwords in my head,
Oh, he
and then I
does?
just blindly
Hey, out of
say
all
them.
those
Commie gobbledygook. Good God, man. Norm is a national treasure. Then later on, we have Hannibal Buress on the couch for an interview. Norm gives Hannibal some praise for his suit and says how he looks like a young Eddie Murphy with that type of fashion. I'm sure Hannibal loved hearing that. Then we get to see Norm try to lie down on top of two ladies. Real pretty ladies, might I add. These two ladies are then asked about getting hate online, and Norm sets up a joke that derails the entire interview with them.
Wait, I have a question. So you guys are two very funny females, but when you post videos on the internet, sometimes being a female is a little bit different than if I was to post a video on the internet. What's that like for you two?
Sometimes we've been called certain things many times.
How do you deal with that stuff?
I think I'm numb to it now. We've been called everything so many times. I can't even
In the beginning,
take
it was
in
like,
anymore.
oh my God, I can't believe this. We should just stop doing this. And then now we just don't read the comments and keep doing it.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that's the right
I think
way to
the
do it.
last
Oh, are
comment
you
I
guys,
read
are
was
you
the
guys
guy-
talking about Barfy Man 362?
Exactly.
Is that you?
No, that's that motherfucker. I don't even want to give him attention, but listen, saying those kind of things about me.
Talk to him. Talk to him right now. Talk to Barf.
Listen, Barfy Man 362.
right.
No, you cannot rape my mother with a knife.
Now it's official.
Yeah, that's the kind of comment we didn't want to read anymore.
Yeah.
A lot of sandwich makers, bitches, go make me a sandwich.
Those ones bother me less than the knife.
Oh yeah, the raping
mother
ones
stuff.
are worse.
Yeah, you
by
don't
a
want to be
lot.
raped with a knife.
I'll gladly
I
make
would
a
much rather
sandwich.
be raped with something else.
Yeah.
God, there's just something so magical about seeing Jenny Slate get uncomfortable here. What a treat. Norm knows exactly what he's doing. Thankfully, these girls were pretty good sports about the whole thing. That's pretty much how this whole thing with Norm on the YouTube Awards happened, and god damn it was funny. I actually heard an interview clip of Kasim G talking about this in retrospect, and it actually inspired me to make this video. It's nice to know that Kasim was appreciative of Norm and getting to be a part of this event, even if he was the butt of the joke quite a few times. All in all, that was the time Norm MacDonald crashed the YouTube Awards show. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a thumbs up and subscribe if you're new to the channel. Be safe out there. Don't get cut by a fucking sorcerer.
She got cut by a fucking sorcerer.
But that's all I got for you guys today. I love you, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.